This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kill.
You are live, you are live.
Good morning and welcome on the Sunrise Safari, the only place in the world where you will find a 3-hour safari, live safari, from the comfort of your living room, first thing in the morning and then in the afternoon once again. We're coming to you live from Djuma, Arathusa and the Greater Kruger National Park area of South Africa. Not only are we live, but we are also interactive, which means please send through your questions that you have about the magical African landscape, Twitter, or through to questions@wildearth.tv. My name is Jamie, and this morning I have Eggsy on camera, also known as Zander. I've already forgotten where the nickname Eggsy comes from. I feel very bad about that, and we're going to see what wonders we can find for you. And then on Rusty, Taylor is out with Dave, also searching for the wonders of the African bush. Without further delay, let us head off. Since the sun's already way above the horizon, Eggsy and I sat here patiently waiting to show you the beautiful sunrise. We asked the sun to wait, but it wasn't having any of it. So we enjoyed the sunrise, didn't we, Eggsy? Exactly. So, thank you to Shelley and to Brett who sent through the updates about the animals coming to the Djuma Dam camera. As you know, it's always incredibly helpful because it's kind of like us having a network of spies in one place, one isolated place. Shelley sent through information that the Queen of Djuma, Karula, the female leopard, paid a visit to the dam at some point yesterday evening, and Brett tells us that 2 lionesses came. That was 2 days ago. And the fact that she's still around here makes me wonder if she doesn't have a kill somewhere in the vicinity. And that's our plan for this morning. Another beautiful morning. Yesterday's sunset safari was just a stunning, stunning atmosphere. We had the most beautiful, massive elephant bull, and I'm sort of secretly hoping that he might be around somewhere. The no was because I just drove over the elephant tracks. Right, I'm going to go and scour the land for the tracks of this female leopard. In the meantime, I know that Taylor was desperate to find out what was happening with her injured buffalo. So let us head across and find out what she's up to.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another amazing sunrise safari. My name is Taylor, and on camera today we've got David. Hello, David. Good morning. We're all fresh for the morning, just having a little look up. But it's so nice. It's finally warm. It's actually not too chilly today, which is quite exciting. However, there's a little bit of wind, I'm afraid. Ah, look at this little bird over here. Can you see that one over there? Just on that tree. So, there we go. That was a purple-breasted roller, rather than a lilac-breasted roller, which we are normally used to seeing, but now it's hiding behind the trees. And it did actually have, let me go back. I'm so sorry, I've got a tickle in my throat. Let me see if we can get it. Because it's eating something, it's having breakfast. My eyes are watering. Have a look over there. What does it have in its mouth? Look at that. Okay, we're having a little bit of technical issues. I think if we can, let's hop on over to Jamie, and we'll be back with you shortly. I'm afraid the cameras haven't woken up this morning.
Oh, dearie me, it seems as though our camera on Rusty is having a little bit of difficulty, but that's okay, you've arrived at the perfect time. I'm going to show you what I have found for us on this beautiful morning safari. Let's play test poor Zander. There's a leopard track there, Zander. Yeah, there's a leopard track there. Let me jump out so I can show him, and of course all of you. The Queen, the Royal Queen of Djuma, Karula, walked along this road at some point last night, presumably, most likely, right after she was at the pan. Now, the light's not quite right. I should probably look for lions. I mean, the lions were standing right here when I left yesterday, but they're not here, so we're all fine and well. The light is not fantastic for looking at tracks, so I'm actually going to trace out what I'm looking at. But over here, the tracks of the female leopard. You see them, Zander? No, fair enough. These are particularly difficult to look at because it's in very, very soft sand, so they haven't kept their shape. So what we're looking at when we're looking at a leopard track is the back lobe. So this is the equivalent of the back of the leopard's foot. It's not the equivalent of, it is the back of the leopard's foot. 3 lobes tells us that it is a bigger cat. If you can't see the 3 lobes, that's not your fault, that's mine for picking a silly track in soft sand. And then toes over here, 4 of them. Clear as day, aren't they? There's a nice big round front foot. I say big, smallish front foot. Her back foot falls here. Here's her back foot. And she has wandered along south. So these tracks are going that way. That's not even a good arrow. Just to give you an idea of how indistinct the soil actually is in this particular patch. So, ma'am, where did you go? Before I go driving over her tracks in this horrible light. Huh. Oh, there she goes. Okie dokie. So, we are hot on the trail, and if not hot, at least warm on the trail of Queen Karula. And of course, I have a feeling, well, I'm hoping it's not the case. I haven't seen her cubs in a while. It makes me wonder if she's not, perhaps, fingers crossed, on her way to go and fetch them and bring them back to Djuma. Karula, for new viewers, has 2 gorgeous 7.5-month-old cubs. I have not seen them properly in ages. So I'm really hoping that perhaps today will be the day. Okay. So excuse me leaning out over the right and not looking at you. It's because I'm concentrating, because next to Karula's tracks, actually this might be quite nice if she's been kind to us. But she has not been kind to us. I was going to give you a nice comparison between a lion and a leopard in terms of size, if they had fallen next to each other. I think she's gone in there. And thank you to Chris Rogue, who has given us the direction that Karula headed in. She says that she went southwest. She definitely did, and then she's come a little bit more to the east, and she's on Twin Dams now. The question is, where did Her Royal Highness go from here? Lots of lion tracks as well, but these we know from sort of early yesterday evening because we saw them and we heard them. When I came home last night, Zander was standing on the veranda listening intently to the sounds of the lions roaring as they moved a bit further to the north. Ma'am, where did you go? For you have not continued on this road. And now we play the leopard tracking game. I once described tracking Karula as a Mensa test, and I was told that that was a slightly obscure reference, so I will continue to describe it, tracking Karula, as a Mensa test. Mensa, of course, being the society for the top 2% of our population in terms of IQ. Karula keeps us guessing. We're going to do this whole safari backwards just for fun. Where did I last see her tracks? There. Let's just see where she's gone off the road. And at the same time, I need to just chat to Andrew on the Game Drive channel. Sorry, everybody. We will get going with the safari in a moment, but I just want to make sure she doesn't have a kill in there. Good morning, Andrew. Nkonzo for Mafuzzy Ingwe going south on Twin Dams, and Audio Vangala, it sounded towards Buffelshoek. No other updates. Right, where did you go? It's amazing. It's like she steps off the road. Very interesting. Okay, I'm going to just go for a little wander in here. I think she might be around. I think she might be closer than we think. Let's head across to Taylor, who has found something much, much bigger than a leopard.
Finally, everybody, after not seeing a herd of elephants for a long time, I've managed to stumble across one and have a look at this sweet little elephant over here. Just as we arrived, it was having a little scratch, and this one seems to still be stumbling across its feet, so it looks relatively young. Look, watch how it, I don't know what it's doing. It's going up and down and over and under, not quite under, but big to go under, but it's very excited by all these logs. What are you eating? Mountain climbing elephant? Look at the little feet. Oh, maybe it's practicing to be a trapeze artist, I'm not sure, or a tightrope walker. Look at that little bum. Very sweet. So it looks like a young female, and I don't think she is much older than about 6 months. She's very slightly wobbly still and hasn't quite got a good use of her trunk just yet, which is a nice indication. Look at that little front foot sneaking through the back feet. I'm waiting for her to fall over. There's not a massive herd of elephants. I can only see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elephants. There's some of the adults as well who are happily munching away. Not quite as exciting as this little elephant who is got its bum now. It's tracing straight towards us. Look at it go. Isn't this a great way to start your morning? I wonder if this is... I'm just having a look here. I'm wondering if this is not the short trunk female. I just want to see it. Yes, it is. Oh, that's so exciting, everybody. So this is the short trunk family. You can see the short trunk female is that one straight in front of us. I just had a notice that. I'm starting to put 2 and 2 together in the last few drives, which is so exciting. Very, very, very exciting. I'm sorry, everybody. I am just in awe of this sighting because I absolutely love the elephants and I'm really just enjoying it so much. Look at these two now. So remember, we are live at the moment. How cool is that? So if you'd like to interact with us this morning, I know it's early for some of you or late for some of you. You're welcome to send us some questions. You can either hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or you can email us if you don't have any of the social media accounts. So you can email us at questions@wildearth.tv and I'd absolutely love to hear you. I think on my interview drive, I actually saw the short trunk family. I wasn't aware of it at the time, but the longer you watch individuals, as you all know, you start to get to know them. They all look a little bit different. Yes, I'm going to follow Mom. I'm going to keep by her side. But what a sweet little elephant this is. Hello. And they're walking off. They're so calm and so relaxed this morning. It really is beautiful, that golden light just coming through. What a picturesque moment this is. Here we go. There's another opportunity for a bum. There's a baby elephant bum. Look at that. Trying to turn that piece of stick around in its mouth. Not quite sure what to do, but it knows it's been watching Mom, and it knows that it's supposed to twist that piece of twig in its mouth, and then the bark is supposed to come off. Let me very quickly reap. Oh no, we've got another little gap there. There we go. There's some bums. 2 bums. Isn't that lovely? And they're slowly moving off into the distance, but it's quite open here, so we'll be able to see them. I'm going to reverse that. I would like to reposition very quickly. No? Come on, Rusty. Morning. I'm going to go back because this one behind us is actually using its trunk so nicely. I'm getting really good at reversing without mirrors. Let's see. There we go. I think this is what this little one was trying to do. No, now how can you go behind the tree? Your face was just perfectly. Maybe I need to go back a little bit more. There we go. On the young males. Look at him there. So sorry, that's what I was just saying. That's what the little one was trying to do. Put a branch, or in the little one's case, it was really only a twig. And then now you will be able to see how it will chew and bite on the edge of the branch. And then from there, they normally try and twist it with their trunk. And that will take off a layer of the bark. Oh, no, done with that. And what they're trying to do when they're eating the bark is they're trying to strip the cambium layer from the bark. And that's the layer where nutrients are transported from the roots to the leaves. But at this time of the year, most of the trees don't actually have any leaves on them. So it's important sustenance for these elephants to be able to do that. Now, obviously the adults who have well-trained trunks are very much able to do this. The little ones, however, they struggle, and sometimes you'll actually see them picking up branches that have been half chewed by the adults, and they'll try and strip some bark off that's been loosened for them. It's just amazing how much control they have of those trunks. There we go. I'm going to try again with the same piece, and you hear that. Hear that crunching. Like I said, biting down, squashing the branch a little bit, and then loosening all the bark. I think that one's actually just going to eat the entire plant, though. It's not really big. It's called quite a young branch. So I'm sure it's quite juicy, not like the bigger piece that it had earlier. And I love how that tusk is covered in mud. Have a look there, and also bark and all sorts of different things. They never seem to keep their tusks very clean. They're very important tools, the tusks. This one's only got one. It's quite nice. I think he's going to be a nice big bull. It's quite a long tusk. He's got some very good genetics. Oh, what are you going to do? You're going to pull that over for us. Show us your strength. Yes. Look at that. Look how he does that with ease. You and I could probably hang from that branch and it wouldn't do anything. Now let's see what he's going to do. What's your next move? You're going to bite it? I don't think your teeth are quite strong enough to bite it off, but you may be able to break it. Are you going to just strip the bark like that? No, not working. No one. Break it for us. That's something that we don't actually see a lot of, because we often see the trees pushed over, but we very rarely see the elephants in the act. You can actually see, Davy, I don't know if you can see where he's actually managed to strip the bark off of that one branch. If you go up a little bit and to the left, there we go. See, so you see that's where it was biting the branch, and I think it didn't do what it was supposed to do, but how cool is that? Just to see the fresh layer of the bark stripped off. And it's given up. Well, that wasn't a very good effort to try and pull that tree down. It would have been worth it. Else you've just found something else. But I just love this light at this time of the morning. It's so beautiful. Ah, lovely. So we've got some of the migratory bird that Jamie's got to show you. Let's go and see those feathery creatures. Oh, goodness.
When any of us drive along Twin Dams Road, it would be remiss not to stop and check on our mating pair or nesting pair of Wahlberg's eagles. They're just so incredibly beautiful, and particularly in this morning light, they just look so photogenic. You can see the wind ruffling them a little bit. It's a little bit nippy this morning, not hugely so. It's 19 degrees centigrade, so 66 Fahrenheit. I just love watching them. I could sit and love that look from the one on the right. So our Wahlberg's eagles have just in the last few weeks returned to our shores. I don't know if I'd call them shores, but they've returned to this area. And our pale morph Wahlbergs have returned once again to their nests on Wahlberg's Road. Judging by the name Wahlberg's Road, they've been coming here for many, many years. They, at some point relatively soon, should be egg-laying. And of course with raptors, they have a breeding season, an egg-laying season, which starts round about now. But at the same time, it's different for each individual pair. Last year, we don't think they were successful, and hopefully this year will be different. They are wonderful little eagle species. And you can see, I think it's the female preening her feathers there, setting them all into alignment, preparing for her day ahead as she heads out to hunt and help to construct the nest. The reason I say I think it's the female, but it's hard to tell when they're puffed up like this, is that the female birds of prey are always slightly larger than their male companions. They are monogamous, but they only really come together when it's time for breeding. The one on the right keeps giving her such quizzical looks, and tipping his head as if to say, "What you doing?" She does look, to me, bigger than... The one on the left looks bigger than the one on the right, but she's also puffed up, so I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's the case. And it's just so fortunate that we get to spend as much time as we do with these lovely birds, that we start to recognize them as individuals. And of course, hopefully this year they are successful, and we get to watch a little juvenile Wahlberg's eagle. Will it be pale like its parents? Possibly, probably. What's the chances? If it's the pale morph is a recessive gene, as far as I understand it. It's why only roughly 5 to 10% Wahlbergs are pale morph. But the fact that we've got 2 pale morphs means, what would it be? Genetically, I mean, it won't be exact, but probably about a 50% chance that their offspring will be pale like its parents, or else it'll be the normal tawny color. Or just throw a spanner in the works. Imagine if they had a dark morph chick. That'd be awesome. Right, an update on our leopard tracking endeavors. She's gone into the Mulwati drainage line. As I went walking, a lot of impala got a serious fright and went dashing off into the bushes, which means she's probably not still in that exact vicinity, although it's so hard to predict with leopard behavior. I lost her tracks just in the drainage line itself, and I'm going to just keep checking along Twin Dams. The thing about leopards in general, especially Karula, she has a tendency, everybody who's tracked Karula has remarked upon this. She walks, and then all of a sudden she's going that way, and she's going that way, and she's going that way. We've seen it when we watch her hunting, and I'm sure she was hunting. There's a possibility she was hunting last night. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check around the area, see if she perhaps caught something, and then came back to fetch her cubs, and we'll take it from there. We'll figure it out as we go along. Now, David, you were wondering about, you say, how is it that different birds of prey nest in the same tree, and why is it that no problems occur? I'm not 100% sure what you mean there, because both of those nests are Wahlberg's nests, and those two are a mated pair, so they're a monogamous pair. They might have problems, I don't know, I've never asked them. That's a little bit, definitely not my business. But they will come together at the start of every summer for us, and mate with each other and produce an egg, hopefully. So they don't really have any problems. In terms of other birds of prey nesting in the same region, or in the same tree, it's relatively unusual to see. You do occasionally see a vulture's nest next to a tawny eagle nest or something similar. They all like these towering, spindly looking knob thorns to build their nests in. I've never quite understood why, but it must be to do with the comfort levels for them in terms of not getting caught up in vegetation. What is more common to see is raptors or storks building nests on top of a hammerkop. Now, hammerkop is, very nice. Up there, easy. Got him. Awesome. Talking of birds, and he's got something. How cool is that? What you got? Looks like what is it? It's a grasshopper. Amazing. A hoopoo, called a hoopoo because it goes hoop hoop, hoop hoop, hoop hoop. My dad's favorite bird. What now, hoopoo? Seems to be contemplating what on earth it's going to do with this enormous meal that it has in its beak. A little bit of problem solving needed here because, of course, birds do not have teeth. Not that that really needed clarifying. So now what? You've got to figure out a way. Now, he doesn't have the strong, ripping, tearing beak of something like a shrike or a barbet or a roller, for example. He's got a long, thin, probing beak, which is why it's actually quite unusual to see a hoopoe. Oh, where'd he go? With a grasshopper. Did you drop it? Or has he got a stash of food there? I wonder if he just abandoned that. That was weird. It was like he went and he popped it down on that log, on that little incline there. That could be a potential nesting site for a hoopoe. But there's no way on earth a hoopoe would just have left a grasshopper for a chick. There's no way a chick would be able to cope with it. How very mysterious. I'm almost tempted to wait and see if he comes back. But we could be waiting all day. That beautiful tree that he was sitting in, dead tree, is a leadwood. And that could be dead. That could have been dead for the last 100 years. That is the amazing thing about a leadwood tree, is that it is so solid and termite resistant and wood borer resistant that it makes these incredible homes for animals. And I'd love to know what's living in that hole. Wonder what's there. I'm not going to go and stick my hand in there. That would be a terrible idea. But this whole tree is its own little ecosystem. A dead tree that provides shelter. I mean, if we look further up, we've got holes all along this tree. Provides homes for all kinds of different animals for many, many, many years to come. And I bet you those holes right at the top could even have been squirrel nests, or perhaps a bush baby nest. Oh, there we go. Speaking, and of course, there could be multiple bird species nesting in this tree. And we go back to the question that we had earlier, which was, why is it that birds all feel comfortable nesting in the same place? And Debbie in Vancouver, you were saying that you saw, what was it? Was it vultures nesting, red-billed buffalo weavers? And what was the other thing? Small raptors. Were they all nesting, or were they all together in a tree? It is interesting to see how often animals... Oh, awesome. So they were all nesting in the same tree. Thank you to Debbie in Vancouver. I didn't hear about that. It is interesting the way that they set aside their enmity in that way to comfortably nest with each other. Sorry, Aubrey's desperately trying to get hold of me. Standing by. And I think it's just a truce, essentially. Copy that, thanks, Orbs. I'm going to make my way there now. My best approach would be quarantine. Let's go. Leadwood tree is lovely, but Karuda has sent me in the wrong direction because she's just about to pop out there. Whee! We'll get back to the question of the birds because it's an interesting one, but for now I'm going to race to the Queen and I'm going to send you back over to Taylor, who has some wildebeest.
So everybody, I have found a little herd of wildebeest, one of the ugly five which I was chatting about yesterday morning, and I think, like I said, I prefer it to the big five. So it's quite nice to see so many females with such round bellies. That means that they are brewing a little baby in their ovens, which is exciting. So hopefully we will expect them around December, maybe even a few ones a little bit earlier. Now, wildebeest are known as the clowns of the bush because when the wind changes direction, they will often race around in circles and chase each other. It's quite entertaining to watch. But I think people forget how important wildebeest are to the ecosystem. Now, for instance, in this particular area, in the Sabi Sands, hyenas will actually feed quite heavily on wildebeest and on kudu as well. So for instance, like this juvenile that we're looking at, this would make the perfect meal for a hyena. So even though they maybe aren't as entertaining to watch as the lions, they are very important to have them around. And especially when all the females start to drop their calves, that is a super important time of the year. That's when you see all the scavengers out in full force, because it's obviously so easy to snatch up a young calf rather than even having to hunt a big adult. And these poor youngsters are going to get the boot from their moms as well, which will be a big shock to their system. But I just love that sort of bleached look that they have at this age when they haven't got their adult coat just yet. They're funny looking animals. They almost look like they've been put together, or are put together, of a few different animal species. Love that face like a horse and a mane and a tail like a horse. And then they've got the very much cow-like body, and then of course the horns like a cow too. Look at that. This is so beautiful, and they're so happy. I just really do feel sad for the animals now that they are trying so hard to try and find some food, and there really isn't anything left. I mean, I can't even see what they're eating. The grass is so brown and there's only little blades left, not really anything substantial. There's quite a bit of grass though growing on the termite mound, so I can't wait to start seeing the animals climbing up the termite mounds to try and find the grass that hasn't been eaten just yet. You can see that even though it's yellow, at least it's some form of roughage to keep them going. See, that's it. I would be a termite climbing wildebeest. Aaron wants to know if there's any species of antelope that I have not seen. Aaron, of course. I haven't traveled throughout Africa, so there are so many different types of antelope species that I have yet to see. I'm trying to think which one I really want to see the most. I wouldn't mind seeing a Thompson's gazelle. I actually drove the great-granddaughter of the gentleman who named that antelope or discovered that antelope species, so that's always been on my list. This was many years ago. I'm not actually even sure where I'd have to go to see that. Maybe I should have a look at my mammals book. Let's see if I can find Thompson's gazelle, and I can do a bit more research about it. But they are really lovely animals. And who else? I haven't seen a lechwe yet. I'd like to see a lechwe and a sitatunga. I think a sitatunga, which is, I think if I'm not mistaken, are related to kudu and inyala. I'd really like to have a look at them. Right, what was I looking for? Let's go. Gazelle, yes. My eyes are not working this morning in my book and I'm trying to find it. Let's see where you are. So the wind is picking up today. Why can't I find you? Where is Gazelle? Why are you hiding away? Maybe you are... Maybe I don't even have it in this book. It's a very old book. And also all the pages are stuck together, so that would be terrible if I couldn't even open a picture to find it for you. Or maybe it's doing... that's why I'm sorry. I'm being very silly. Where's T? Let me try that way. Oh, I don't know why I don't have it in here. That's so bizarre. Let me see if I can quickly scroll through. Never mind, I can always get back to it this afternoon. I can try and relocate it. No, you're not any of those. My goodness, there's lots of different antelope species. You can probably hear me paging through my book. No, I can't find it in my book. I don't think I have it. I think I'll have to try and find a photo at another point and then show you, but that is something that I would like to have a look at. Now you can really see how fat these wildebeest are getting, which is quite exciting. Fantastic, everybody. I think we're going to say goodbye to these wildebeest and we're going to carry on with our search for our injured buffalo. And I believe Jamie's got the Queen of Juma for you.
The Queen just walked right past our vehicle. Excuse me, and how exciting was that? Absolutely amazing. First time I've seen Karula in what feels like forever, and she walks right next to the vehicle. How cool was that, Eggsy? Awesome. Ah, wonderful. The Impala, of course, spotted her. They are all alarm calling away. Thanks, guys. Let's try and see if we can't keep up with her as she goes off the road here. She's going towards the drainage line, which is one of her favorite spots. So what we're going to do here is we're going to keep leapfrogging. Rex is going around the side. Rex has just gone past. Oh, look at her. There's nothing... Thanks, Orbs. There's nothing quite like a leopard in the morning sunlight. That graceful, lithe body. Okay, let's go. She knows the game is up. She has not eaten last night. Judging by her belly, she's got the empty flap of skin just underneath her tail that is very clearly showing, very clearly shows us that she hasn't had a kill in the last few days. Oh, goodness gracious. Hold on, Eggsy. This is where things get difficult. Sorry about the noise, everybody. There she goes. She is moving towards the drainage line. But yes, sorry about the noise. I went to squeeze past some trees. There she goes. Okay. The trick with Karula... Oh, zebra. That's a little bit too big. That would be particularly ambitious. They're all trotting past now. They're running away just because they're aware of a predator. They're not quite sure. They don't think they're being hunted, really, by a leopard. She's not a threat to them. There she goes. Okay, let's not let her get too far away. I'm going to switch on and catch up with her. Okay, there is a crossing point. Oh, Impala's dashing. I think she might just have gone for one. Hold on a moment. They dashed past her. They made a critical mistake. They panicked and they ran straight in front of her. Where's she gone? I think she might have tried to go for one of them. The dangers of panicking here in the bush and that herding instinct, even though they had spotted her, her element of surprise is gone, but her reflexes are exceptionally good, and I think she's just gone after them. Everybody hold on. They just made a crucial error. I think she's gone for one of them. Eggsy, you're keeping your eyes peeled. There she is. No, whatever happened, it didn't succeed. I think she did think about it, though. The amount of distance she's just covered. Can you see her through that? She's going to disappear. Going to go? Which way is she going to go? Are we going to cross here, or are we going to stay this side of the drainage? I don't see her coming across just yet. No, she hasn't crossed. Ooh. Hold on, Eggsy. Whee! Whee! What a way to start a morning. There she goes. She's on the termite mound. And of course, you're all as excited as I am to see the Queen. Where'd the Queen go? Hey! There she is. Oh, no. Here she goes. Now she is going to cross the drainage. See what I mean about her unpredictable ways? Sorry, I will catch up with her. Okay, we're gonna keep catching up with her, but we've got some tricky stuff to get through and a tricky drainage line to cross. Let's go back to Taylor and her Ellies.
Alright everybody, I've just decided I'm going to stay with the elephants the entire morning. We managed to stumble across some more. Short Trunk and her family disappeared into some thick vegetation, and we were surprised by a few more elephants, probably a few hundred meters up the road, which was very nice. And this female cow is so close to the vehicle. She's probably only about 10 meters away. Can you believe it? And look how relaxed she is. She doesn't even care that we're here. She's also got a young calf who's hiding behind her at the moment, and we're watching all the elephants pick up all the branches and eat the bark. That's what they seem to be having for breakfast today, is bark. You know, eat that. See, watch this now. Now we can see her quite nicely because she's so close. How she chews, bites down nice and hard. I love how while she's busy with that one, she's looking for her next meal as well. Always hungry. So elephants are needing to eat quite a large amount of vegetation every single day. And I'm sure you've all heard this before, but I know there's some new viewers that are most likely watching us today. So elephants haven't got the greatest digestive system. They're only digesting about 40% of their food. So they need to eat lots of it and a variety of it. So they're feeding for about 19 hours a day. And you can see how that female got exactly what she wanted, getting the cambium level off the bark. And now she's reaching for another piece. No, didn't like anything there. Now she's going to move off. Now you can see her little calf that's popping out. And the little calf is actually utilizing a branch that mom has already broken. And there's little bits of bark that that youngster can strip off much easier. There we go. You can see that that branch was already chewed by mom. And this little one is going to use it now. Here we go, so sweet. This one's much older than the calf we saw earlier. I reckon this is probably just less than a year, maybe 8 or 9 months. Thomas wants to know if these elephants have multiple sets. They only have 6 sets of molars, just by the way, Thomas. Why don't their tusks grow back? Now, their tusks are not used in the same way that their molars are. They're not grinding down their tusks to chew their food. Their tusks have now become a modification and are more used as a digging tool rather than sort of crushing and grinding up the food like the molars are used. So there is no need, or they don't wear down at the rate at which the molars do. So that is why over many, many, many years, or hundreds of thousands of years, their tusks have adapted uniquely and are almost not even used like a normal tooth would be used. Look at that little one being pushed away by mom's tusk. There we go. It's now also a pushing tool, not only a digging tool. Can move a calf out of the way when little one gets under mom's feet. But it's amazing how gentle she is around that little one as well. Now she's sort of saying, just move out the way. Let me handle this. Let me push this over for you. Look at that, using her feet. See, they use everything. They use their trunk, they use their tusks, and they use their feet all in one go. There we go. That's so much clever. So that is so clever. Sorry. There we go. Breaking multiple branches. And now that little one will probably also come in and start munching away on the ones that mom has broken for it. But they are all feeding on the bush willow trees at the moment, from the variable to the large fruited. They really are enjoying their bark at the moment. You'll hear me go quiet sometimes, but as much as I love to talk, sometimes I also think it's nice just to sit back and just enjoy and watch and appreciate the elephants. And actually communicating with each other at the moment. One just let off a stomach rumble in the distance. I think it was too soft for you all to hear back at home. Now you can see how that female's looking away. It's as if they said, right everybody, come on, let's keep moving. And that's exactly what they look like they're going to do, moving in the direction of that other female. And this little one's quite happy to stay munching on this little branch. Look at that. He's rubbing the tip of its trunk all over that branch, trying to find. There we go. Got a little loose piece. Pull, pull, pull. Come on, you can do it. You're going to have to put your... Oh, no, you didn't even have to use your foot. That was lucky. They're really having to rely on mom to help them at this time of the year when they are not quite strong enough just yet to push over all the branches. So this one will probably spend a few more minutes feeding, and you see mom is preparing some more branches in the distance. Yeah, she's breaking them. And the little one's still here, quite happy, munching away. Here we go. You're getting it slowly, every day. They're training up a new muscle. No? And now what? What happened? Oh, no. Yes, you're very big and scary. Yeah, sort of just saying to us, yes, and keep on walking. You only did that because mom is just around the corner. If mom wasn't here, you wouldn't be so brave. How lovely is that? And they're going into the thicket now. Well, not that it's really, really thick. Robin B wants to know if their tusks would continue growing all their life, even if a section of their tusk broke off. Yes, and that's because the tusks are not growing from the tip. They're actually growing from the base, and they're getting longer and longer and longer. So if a tusk were to break off, it depends. If it broke off maybe where the nerves are, it might be a little bit of a problem, and possibly no, it wouldn't carry on growing, but they will. It depends on a lot of things, on genetics, on a few, which would determine the length and the rate at how quickly an elephant tusk will grow. Obviously, the male elephants generally have much bigger, longer and thicker tusks than what a female elephant will have, whereas the female elephants slightly thinner. They don't need to use them for fighting. They're really using them as a work tool. So I hope that answers your question. Should we reverse a little bit because it's quite nice? I think we may get a gap again. Jamie and I seem to be doing lots of reversing. Mm-hmm. I'm sounding like an elephant now. Hello and thank you, elephants, for popping out into the open. And there they are again. Just moving from one tree to another. This light is just so lovely, but it's changing so quickly. In the next 15 to 20 minutes, the light will be really, really harsh. The sun is rising so quickly. Look at there. Fran wants to know at what age will the elephant's tusks start to show? Now, this is one of the things we use to try and age an elephant, Fran. So normally, at the age of about 2 years old, you'll start to see those little tusks protruding through the folds of skin. And that is a good indication. However, you do get, and it's like I said, genetics. And I think that's what the elephants are going to do today, is they're just going to eat bark until they move into another area and are able to find something else to eat. They're also loving to eat bulbs, and I've been actually seeing a few tall white squirrels popping out of the ground. So I'm sure the elephants in no time are going to start digging those plants out the ground. She's got really impressive tusks, though. She must be quite an old girl. Quite a big female too. No. What's this little one got now? Oh, mom's just breaking everything. Very, very curious, this little one. How on earth did you do this, Mom? You see the amount of concentration that little one has to put on in order to try and pull a little piece of bark. You can just see the tip of his trunk below that branch. Lots of concentration going on there. Good morning, Justin S. Justin S wants to know, how long will it take for an elephant calf to use its trunk? Now, it can take them well up to a year for them to get a really good use of their trunk. And I have heard many different stories as to how many different muscles an elephant has in its trunk. But anywhere between 10,000 all the way through to about 60,000 muscles in their trunk. So you can imagine it takes them quite a long time to get the full use of it. That's why I say that this little calf that we're looking at, it's got a much better use of its trunk than the little one we saw earlier. So I reckon it's probably about 8 or 9 months, almost coming on to about a year. Just hasn't quite got the strength just yet, but it's able to move it around and twist it around by actually controlling it and not by it just doing what it wants to do. So I always like to describe the baby or an elephant's trunk, especially when they're young like this, like a toddler trying to feed itself for the first time. You know how they sort of go in with a spoon and then they poke it in their eye and then they put it in their nose and their mom's got to wipe their faces. That's exactly what happens with these elephants as well. Wow. P. Hart wants to know if they ever sprain their trunks. I'm not sure. That's the problem. We can't hear the elephants talking, or when they're in pain, they never really let us know. But if there's so many muscles, I'm pretty sure that they could maybe strain a muscle here and there. Now, that would be obviously a very unfortunate thing for an elephant to do because they rely on their trunks so much. But I don't think it's a common injury. So I think their trunks are safe. I mean, they don't really stand on their trunks or anything like that. And when they do struggle with pulling down a tree or pushing over a tree, then they bring in the rest of their body or even use their feet. Trunks just can't do it. I quite like it how it would have rained and all these trees are going to be covered in leaves. We wouldn't even see that there was an elephant there. That elephant would be completely hidden away. We'd just be hearing the branches breaking. And that's sometimes that we actually, a tool that we'll use in the summer months, is that we know how thick the vegetation is and we can't see as far into it as we can in winter. So often we'll just stop and switch off and get everybody to sit quietly for a little bit, and then we will listen, and then that'll often give the location of the elephants away. There's another big elephant just up ahead. I think it's a bull. Let's go see what he's doing quickly. He's just around the corner. We won't be too far. We'll be there in about 30 seconds. And he seems to be right up next to the road. We're going to go mode. Hello. Yes, we have a young elephant bull. Look at you. We seem to have lots of branches that are obstructing our view. I wish he'd just come over and remove that one that's across his face. So this is a young elephant bull. He's probably around anywhere between 15 and 18 years old. He's getting big. I reckon he's getting to the point in his life where the females are going to try and push him out. He's getting old enough now. So maybe in the next year or two, maybe the process has already started because he's a fair distance away from the rest of the herd. The female we were looking at earlier, she was right at the back. Oh, look at that. How cool is that? Kicking up the sand there. And what he's doing is, I think he's trying to loosen the roots that are at the base of that tree. Often you'll see them doing this as well when they want to throw sand over their bodies. But I just see a lot of roots now being exposed. So I think that's what he's trying to do with his feet. Let's see. Yes, you can see that trunk is working hard. And the sand is very soft here, so I don't think it would have been too much of a need to loosen the soil so much to throw it it over his body and give himself a dust bath. Come on, where's that root that you're looking for? You're going to get that golden prize. They're constantly working for their food. Even though they don't have to stalk and hunt like the predators do, it's not always easy. And I think the elephants have the upper hand in the winter months, having tusks, being able to use their feet and their trunks to look for food that maybe other animals cannot find. What have you got? Yeah, no. There we go. There, could you see that root? You see there? His foot's just going over it. Is it a bulb? Is it a root? I'm not 100% sure. We'll see when he picks it up. But I think, did you loosen it? Where is it? It's gone under the sand. Pull. Yeah, no, nothing yet. He's working very hard. There we go. You see that? That's what he's after. Yum! The root of a tree. Now imagine how many nutrients are in that. And it's also going to be very juicy. So they're getting a little bit of moisture from the plants that they're eating still. In summer they don't have to drink as often though, because a lot of the plants are either covered in dew in the mornings, or they're, oh wow, look at that, look at him, push it over, here we go, use your foot. Wow, he decided he really liked the taste of those roots, and he thought, well, we'll just sacrifice this tree, we'll uproot it completely. And now he's happy. Now he doesn't have to dig anymore because all those roots are exposed so nicely. Look at that. See, he's going to eat all of those. There we go. Chop it. Cut it with your foot. Look at that. I love that pulling technique. And they just use their feet as if they were spades. Oh, that's a big root there. You're going to love that. What are you going to do? You're going to pull it back. Oh, that was quite easy. You can see that those roots are also full of moisture. You can see the flexibility in that root now. You know, if something is dry and doesn't have a lot of moisture, it snaps quite easily. That one's very bendy. Oh. Isn't that amazing? Look how much, I'm really surprised as to how much sand they're able to scoop up with their feet. I don't know if you saw that back there. That's really impressive. Oh, and look, now he's happy. He's got a big piece of root in his mouth. It's like chewing a piece of celery, I suppose. Not that I like celery. I wouldn't chew that. Now the wind has died down again. It's windy, and then it's windy again. It's not windy. Tolvin wants to know, how long does an elephant live for? Now Tolvin, sorry, I've got the sun straight into my eyes. So Tolvin Tilo wants to know how long an elephant lives for. Sorry everybody, I'm repeating that. I'm trying to hide behind the sun. It's getting me straight in the eyes. I'll try and keep my eyes open for as long as possible. You may see them water just now, what I do for you viewers. So Tolvin is actually a new viewer, so welcome. So it depends on quite a few different things. We were talking about the teeth earlier. I don't know if you managed to see that the sun is this side. Yes, amazing. Ah, thank you, David. David is shielding the sun from my eyes. Okay, that is so much better. So with them only having 6 sets of molars, so if they reckon every 10 years or so, a set of molars will push up from the back and move forward like a conveyor belt. So if they've only got 6 sets of molars, they reckon that they live anywhere between 60 and 70 years. So depending on the vegetation that they're eating, it'll wear down their teeth quicker. Now in the winter months, obviously everything is extremely dry, so their teeth are going to wear down at a lot quicker rate. So hopefully we get a lot of rain, and then it gives them a bit of an opportunity to eat some nice soft vegetation. So as this happens, when they get to their final set of teeth, they then unfortunately are not going to be able to eat as much as what they would. And so elephants don't starve to death, they sort of end up dying of malnutrition. It's a very long, slow process. It could take a few months, it could take a few weeks. It just depends on the availability of food. And that's when you often see elephants moving around towards watering holes. Here we go. Or even just living along the banks of rivers where the vegetation is nice and soft. So I hope that answers your question, but it's anywhere between 60 and 70 years old, possibly even younger. But look at that. He's doing that with ease. That's incredible. I can't believe how easily he pushed over that tree. And that's what the elephant will do in order to get those roots. So Jamie's managed to relocate Karula in the thick vegetation. So I'm going to send you on over to her to have a look at the spotted queen.
The Royal Queen sent us on quite the, I don't know, I suppose, quite the journey through the drainage line. She is now perched atop her termite mound throne, surveying all that the light touches, so to speak. Isn't that an absolutely gorgeous view of this particular leopard? Oh, and we're off again. Oh, Karula, keeping us busy. There she goes towards the other side of the drainage line. Let's just wait and see whether or not she's going to keep going in the drainage or if she's going to go to the other side of it. Basically what she's been doing, she's been crisscrossing this drainage line and we can't get the vehicles across it, so we're kind of bouncing that way. So we get here and then she goes that way and then she goes that way. It doesn't matter to her. I mean, she can just go wherever she wants, but for us it's a little bit more tricky. I've been slapped across the face a few times. One branch took my hat off completely. Right. And on we go. And she's gone back across the drainage line. And it looks as though she's hunting a duiker. Just been listening to the Game Drive channel. Whoopsies. Playing car Tetris again. Where did she go? You got her ahead. Where? Okay, she's crossed over. And she's moving to the other side of the drainage line. I'm sorry, I hate to keep doing this to you, but she is keeping us busy and we don't want to in any way disturb her. So we're going to go across, get back to the other side. While we do, I'm going to send you back across to Taylor.
So we're still watching our friend the elephant. Look what he's doing. He's completely pushing this tree around. I think he's trying to uproot it. Amazing. Just don't throw it towards us, big man. Amazing. How incredible is that? He does that with absolute ease. Wow. So this tree will cease to exist after he's finished. He is not playing around. That was amazing. I just can't believe the strength of these animals, how they're able to throw around a tree like that. I think I would struggle to even move that bit around. But he's got all the roots exposed now. So he is a very happy camper. And it's so fantastic to be able to sit and watch this. Like I said this earlier, we see a lot of destruction from the elephants, but we never get to see them doing it. And now that you actually get to see why he is pulling a tree or pushing a tree over, it's important to realize that they don't always want to be destructive. It's just that they have to, because there's literally nothing else that they can eat at the moment. So the roots and the bark are so important to the elephants at the moment. If you had to go and look through their dung, a fresh piece of elephant dung, you won't see any grass. You'll see a few leaves, but you will find lots and lots of bark, which is amazing. Well, it's actually quite sad for them at this time of the year that that's what they have to eat. But at least they're not really having to eat the guarri leaves, which the poor antelope are having to feed on. And for those of you who don't know what a guarri tree is, I'll find one for you. I'll even taste a leaf so you can see the expression on my face. But they are full of tannins, so they're very, very bitter. I don't think elephants can smile, but I'm definitely sure. I'm seeing a smile on this elephant's face. He's so happy that he was able to pull that tree up. And yeah, I definitely think that this elephant is in the process of being pushed out of the herd. The rest of the herd is completely moved away now, and he's still hanging around here. So that's quite nice to see as well, not just him pulling the trees up and pushing them over, but also to see this slow process where he is being asked to leave the herd and where he's going to have to move on and maybe find another young elephant, or maybe he'll find a big early bull like Jamie had yesterday. and follow him for a few years and learn from him, and he will basically be a mentor. Okay, there you go. Pull it right up. Strip it nicely for us. Oh, he didn't like that one. Decided he'll go for something smaller. All that dust and all the leaves. Who needs a smoke machine when you're out in the bush and you've got elephants? They create. Look at that. Pull, pull. Come on, you pulled that big tree up. That little root is not going to be any problem for you. Yes, there we go. Whee! It almost swung back and hit him in the head. I don't think he would have been too happy with that. And it's quite funny. Davy, I don't know, can you see all the bark on the inside of his lips now? Yeah. Look how amazing that is. You can just see the stained red around his lips when he opens them from all the bark. So that's elephant lipstick, everybody. I think he's a bit confused though, because he's a boy. Maybe it's just a tinted lip ice. I'm not sure. Okay, everybody, we've got Karula back again, so I'm going to send you over to have a little look at her while we hang around with the elephants.
Karula on the move once again, keeping us guessing. Isn't it amazing how her tracks where I started this morning were leading in completely the opposite direction, but we've now gone full circle and she's heading back to almost where I lost her, or coming close to where I lost her tracks earlier. So she's doing circles within circles, definitely looking for something to eat. And stopping every now and then to listen. And we're just going to let one of the vehicles go past. They're going to cut in front of us. Nobody panic. We will catch up with her in a moment. Obviously, lots of people want to have a view of the wonderful queen. Go ahead, yours. So we're just going to lose view for a moment. There we go. Okie dokie. Onwards we go. An awesome way to start off a morning. And I'm really hoping, because we do have a school drive this morning, I'm really hoping that we get to keep her for them so that the kids have a chance to see her as well. Karula on the move. Magnificent. Awesome. Isn't that beautiful? Imagine how excited the people in that vehicle are to have an experience like that. See, she is hungry. She's looking very sleek and thin. Not thin, sorry, not thin, just like she hasn't eaten in a few days. She's in perfectly good condition. Okay, now, just when we thought things were tricky, she takes us into this block. Ahem, num num. Here we go. I'm going to stay just watching her for the moment. I don't want to move just yet. I just want to gauge her direction. Well, that was pretty conclusive. Straight towards Ingwe Alley. Let's go. Now we can go. Philippe is watching our live safari. Philippe, of course, is the most amazing filmmaker and came to visit our camp last year. And he's watching with all his friends and would like to know how cold it is here in South Africa. It was 19 degrees when I set out. I am now sweating from the hard work of trying to follow Karula. It is apparently currently oh my goodness, I took that corner a bit sharply. You're right there, Eggsy. It is currently 23.73 degrees Fahrenheit. Lovely that you're watching. This is very exciting. Hopefully I don't lose the leopard. She should pop out somewhere here. just switch off and listen for yours. Oh, there he is. She's going to come here soon. There's yours. Where's Karula? All right, everybody. Intently focused on the spots moving through the bush. Where is she? Where is she? Where is she? Let's just stop here. She should come right to us. Let's just watch for spots. Now, it's all fine and well. She should come out here. I'm just waiting for my chance to chat on the Game Drive channel so that I can check with yours that this is still the direction she's heading in. And she hasn't suddenly decided to go north. Where is she? Okay, she must have gone to ground. Not gone to ground, she must have been lying down. Philippe, when are you coming to visit us again? Okay, I think I've got a gap to talk. Yours, do you have still a visual? Okay, copy. Is she still mobile or is she static now? Copy, thanks. Cool. She's sat down on a termite mound again, posing regally as only Karula can pose. Just noticed that my hair is definitely not in the same condition it was in when I started. Oh well. Where you big girl? She must be on that termite mound. Perfect, well done. Ouch. Tree. Red. Of course, one of the lovely things about all leopards, but Karula especially, is that twitching tail with its tip of white. Well spotted, Zander. Very well spotted. And you want to know if they can curl up their tails into a coil type. Firm, thank you, yours. Let me just duck down to show you where she is. We'll just go in quickly, have a look-see. And then we've got to... beautiful. Oh, that's beautiful. I don't really want to push any further forward. I think she's going to get up. Okay, let's... I need to make space for Mike. Right, so can they curl up their tail? No, they can't. The tightest they can do is sort of a little curl. I'm trying to make space for Mike so he can see her too, and it's unfortunately put me in a really difficult position. I don't want to... Wait, I know what we'll do. Ingsy, hold on to your hat. You're not wearing a hat. Oh, you are wearing a hat. Up, she's up. That was to be expected. Phew, my early morning workout. Watch out, Eggsy, that's going to flick back and hit you. There you go. Okay, she's walking straight in front of us. Let me stop here. Maybe I can show you where she... changed direction as I stopped. So a leopard's tail, because it's boned, it has bones in it, can only curl to a certain extent. And they're quite large vertebrae, because a leopard's tail, it's not like the almost prehensile tail of a vervet monkey, for example. A vervet monkey uses its tail as an additional grip, so that has a considerable degree of flexibility. A leopard's tail is not used like that, so therefore it doesn't have the same range of motion. It's more a weighted, there you go, a weighted balancing tool. Hello, Monkey Orange, my old friend. Watch out, Eggsy. That is going to flick at you. Okay, it's going to spring back up, watch. Okay, here we go. This is so much fun. Are you having fun? I'm having fun. Now, Calvin, you wanted to know if she's hunting right now. And the answer is yes. She's not actively stalking just at the moment, but just look at her body posture here. Look at the way that she's standing. Casting about, using things like termite mounds and big logs to check out her surroundings. And yes, if she spots something, she's looking for something to hunt. If she spots something, then she's going to go into serious stalk mode. You're casting her head backwards and forwards. Isn't that an awesome, awesome shot? And slinking over the top of the log, and off she goes. Now, apparently some of you have spotted something on her neck. I don't know what's happening there. It might be blood. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. And you know, leopards are often host to a variety of small injuries that they've acquired, not in Karula's case, not through mating, although they do often have injuries on their neck from that, but then also in a situation where they've been hunting and something's happened. We saw that horrible injury, poor Shadow, on the back of her leg. It looks incredibly painful. But our animals are so resilient and they're so used to these nicks and cuts and scratches that they're actually not too bothered. And it heals up very quickly. They don't get infections like human beings get infections. They've got much more resilient immune system. Just hold on. She did a little trot there. No, I think that was just to get her to the termite mound. Never mind. Sorry, Eggsy. Go back. Reposition. We're just about to get a really nice view of her on a termite mound, but as we do that, James Richard has raised a very good point. It wouldn't really be a Karula sighting if she made it easy for us, now would it? There. There we go. There we go. You're right, James, but... Right, let's examine her neck. Which side of her neck was it on? Might even just be a popped tick. Don't see any blood on her. Maybe a little... No. She looks fine. From this side, at least. Every now and again they have a tick sitting on the back of their neck where they can't reach with their tongues, and they scratch it and it bursts. And that sometimes also causes a little bit of blood around the fur. Isn't she beautiful? How's this light? Stunning. Absolutely stunning. Poised and ready. Now I do just at some point need to hop onto the Game Drive channel, so keep watching her. This is a beautiful view. Just look at that. Oh. She's almost got a royal halo. Oh, and some royal flies fluttering about her head. Just like our lions, leopards are also plagued by insects at times. They usually have a vast array of stable flies and midges and other such things fluttering about them. You can see them all on her ears. If you look really closely, you'll see them settling there. She has been spotted, by the way. The chorus of go-away birds going quee, quee. And the jig is up. Eddie, Abby, you're wondering about the spot pattern of a leopard. You're wondering, what does it mean when we talk about 4-3 or anything like that? And basically, oh, it is blood, sorry. It looks a little bit damp on the right side there. I think she's just scratched a tick. So essentially what it refers to, the numbers 4-3, 3-3, 2-3, they all refer to the number of spots on the top row of the whisker pattern. So in this case, if you count the spots, you'll be able to see, I think that's 3 there. I never worked with spot patterns like this, so it's a new system for me since I started working here. Is she chuffing there a little bit, or was it just a deep breath? I think it was just a deep breath. Yeah, so you look at the left side and then the right side. For us, the way that we're looking at her now, it'll also be right, left to right, and then they give a number of the spots on the top row. So if it's 4-3, they've got 4 on one side and 3 on the other. 4-4 is quite unusual, and I believe that's what Nkanyeni has, if I'm not very much mistaken. Who, of course, I thought I saw, but I didn't. And once you spend a little bit of time with them, then of course it becomes really very easy to recognize individuals. And Karula's distinctive shadows, we spend so much time with them that you just take one look at them and you know which leopard you're with. Hope you're getting some amazing screenshots. This is just too beautiful. I mentioned yesterday, and then I got distracted, the idea of the photogenic 5. Leopard is definitely in the photogenic 5. They never look, you never catch them at a bad angle. Now, one thing I will do on the subject of whisker spots is I'll go into it in a little bit more depth after we're finished with the sighting. But David, you wanted to know why the flies are attracted to Karula. And the answer is, if they're stable flies, which some of them might be, then they are settling around her so that they can bite her and siphon up a little bit of blood. So kind of like ticks and exoparasites. A lot of those will be stable flies, biting flies, and they're after her. They're attracted to most things like mosquitoes, and flies are often attracted to carbon dioxide exhalation. Oh, and she's off. And then also, leopards are not clean creatures. We like to think of them as clean, but they are often quite smelly creatures. Look at her go. This is awesome. Keep my head down. Such an athletic cat. Awesome. Okay, Karula, are you oh no, she's taking us to the Ingwe Alley drainage line. I do hope that she manages to catch something. Okay. Right, repositioning again. Which way is she going? Where is she going to go? What's she going to... Oh, there we go. That's what she's going to do. Look at that. See, moving from termite mound to termite mound, and essentially that just gives her a slightly higher view so she can look across with a better perspective. And usually termite mounds come with a great deal of or often come with plenty of cover. So it means that she can look about but not be spotted. Very much interested with whatever is around her. How's it yours? How are you? Lovely to see you. Sorry, let me go forward for you. Sure. Okay, we're just going to sneak forward. that okay? There we go. They're also attracted to the microscopic bacteria and bits of dirt that gather, flakes of skin and so on the leopard and in its fur, and occasionally even leftover bits of blood as well from a kill, although leopards are a little bit more fastidious than lions in that respect. You watch Karula after she's had a big meal, she always settles down to give herself a jolly good clean, and she can't help the fact that her saliva is full of bacteria. She is very, very definitely on the hunt. She is going to be searching for something. And in this area, perhaps a duiker or a steenbok. Both of those things are very, very likely. Oh, time to sit down for a little bit. And there's that twitching tail. Twitch, twitch. A mind of its own. Almost hypnotic. Okay, well done, Taylor. From one spotted creature to another spotted creature, let's go and have a look at something a little bit taller.
So everyone, we've gone from the largest land mammal in weight to the tallest African mammal. We are looking at a big male giraffe, and he is munching away. David actually spotted him. For me, I was trying to find some lion tracks, and I had my head on the ground, and he spotted this lovely tall creature. Let me go forward a little bit. There's a better gap. But how cool is this? I haven't seen a giraffe. I think could be the first giraffe I've seen since I've been here. I'm slowly ticking off the list of animals that I need to see. But isn't he lovely? And like I have been saying, and I'm going to keep on saying it, we are going to see a lot of the animal species feeding along the banks of either drainage lines or even along the dry rivers. And we've just come out of the Muwati. And that's just because it's the last area that there is some greenery. Can you zoom into what tree he's eating? I think he may be feeding on a tamboti, if I'm not mistaken. It looks like he's feeding on a tamboti. And he won't probably eat that for too long, just because they're also very, very high in tannins, like the guarri trees. But there's not really much else that they can eat. I haven't seen too many knob thorns yet that have got leaves. Only a few of them are just starting to get their flowers. We're seeing the ones around camp, though, flowering. And I think that's because we've probably got quite a bit of water around the area where the others are having to wait for the first rains. But also, once again, how incredible is it that all these animals are so well camouflaged? It blends in so nicely. Just see him munching away. Look at that. Look how tall he is. And you can't even see half of his legs because they're behind a little bank. Something's quite amazing about the giraffe that I really love is that they have the largest heart of the African mammals. Their heart weighs about 12 kilograms. Can you believe that? And it is able to pump 60 liters of blood every minute through their entire body. How incredible is that? Really nice. Oh, what else can I hear? I can hear something breaking in the distance. So we are also listening out and looking for the lions this morning. So I'm hoping that while we are sitting and having a quick look at this giraffe, that some of the other rangers are going to be able to find them. Sorry, I can just hear something else breaking branches in the distance. I just want to very quickly listen for 2 seconds. David, you also heard that, didn't you? I'm not making it up. Sorry, I'm just double checking. Maybe it's a buffalo or something that was rubbing its horns on a tree, but I can't see whatever was crashing through the bushes. Have a look at this giraffe. And it's quite easy to tell that it's a male. We've got a very nice look at his ossicones, which are those two protrusions off the top of his head that have now disappeared. And when we did have a quick view of them, I'm sure you noticed how there was a lack of hair on top of those little, I suppose if you wanted to, you could call them horns, but they're not really horns, called ossicones. And I'm going to have to go forward again so we can actually see that we're looking at a giraffe and not a headless giraffe. We'll have a nice gap just now. Sorry, I keep squeaky, putting the brake a bit hard. So that's probably the easiest way to be able to tell how the difference between a male and a female. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. It was just by looking at the ossicones, because that's often the only part of a giraffe that you can see is just the tip of its head. And one of my favorite words in Xhosa or Zulu is the word for giraffe, which is dlamiti, and the translation is amazing. It is a horse with its head above the trees. I really love that. And that's what we're seeing now. It would be nice if he was facing the other way though. So with the females have got very long tufts of black hair on top of their ossicones. And their face also isn't as, I would say, ugly as the males. I think the females are a lot prettier. Their face is a lot finer. No big calcium deposits like the males tend to have. You can see when every now and then when he turns his head to the side, sort of between his eyes, he's got this big, it looks like a big callus on top of his head. You see that? And now as a giraffe gets older, they start to develop more and more of these big calluses and these calcium deposits. And they reckon that by the time a giraffe reaches the age of about 10 years, he's got about 7 kilograms worth of these calcium deposits on his face. And that's why I say that the females are a lot prettier, because they lack these calcium deposits. There we go, now he's hiding away behind the trees. Now you can really see how tall he is. That's a big tree. I think what we're going to do now is I'd really like to try and find these lions, and this giraffe is now hiding away behind all of the trees. Hello, Red. Sorry, I've got the sun again. So Red wants to know if it's possible for an animal to feel disorientated if it's lost its sense of direction. And I think yes, of course. I'm sure every now and then they must sort of think to themselves, hey, where am I? Where do I need to go? But then again, I don't think it takes very long for them to get back on the bandwagon and realize where they are. But they do have a fairly good sense of direction. I was going to see this giraffe. Maybe we can see if we can reposition. I think there's a road that runs up here. Is there a road that runs up here? Let's reposition. Karula's back up on a termite mound. While I reposition, let's go see what Karula's up to.
From a termite mound to termite mound, that is what the Queen is up to for now, and giving us a beautiful view once again of her hypnotizing tail. It really is, once you start watching it, it's actually very difficult to tear your eyes away from it. Twitch, twitch. Constantly moving, just like a house cat. And tails seem to have, as I said, a mind of their own. And here we go again. Everybody ready? This is going to get tricky. Big yawn. Now, as I said, I'm really excited to show Karula to the school children. They will be joining us in about 15 minutes. As you know, we do have school drives for school children. That doesn't mean you can't watch, of course. It just means that we answer the questions from the kids for a little while. And I think it's one of the most important things that we do. to capture the interests of children. Oh, Jamie, I don't think this is going to work. To capture the interests of children in conserving these, I've lost track of her now, is exactly what we
Hi everyone, we are experiencing technical difficulties, but please bear with us. Our engineering department and our tech department will be working on getting us back up and running as quickly as possible. As you know, bringing you live safaris from the middle of the African bush is not always the easiest task in the world, but we will be back up, and stick with us because you never know what might be on your screen when we return to you.
She's spotted some impala, and we do apologize for the attack of the gremlins that we had earlier. We don't know what happened really, but we're back up and running, so thank you for all of you for staying tuned. There's a tree. Okay, there she goes, there she goes. Yes audio or no audio? Okay, so we're good to go. Sorry about that, everybody. We've got Karula hunting. We apologize. I don't think you heard me say it the first time. We do apologize for the attack of the gremlins that just occurred. Karula is hunting impala. Now, I'm not 100% sure where the herd has gone now, but that's why she slunk is not a word, slunk across the road in the way that she did, sort of almost slithering her way over and back to this termite mound. Standing by. Affirm yours. She's visible from the road on a termite mound. We've just hit the road now. Awesome. Look at her. Absolutely beautiful. Perfectly hidden. She's found the best termite mound of them all. A vantage point and plenty of cover. And so far, the impala, wherever they may be, I've lost track of them, remain oblivious of her presence. And now, she's going to play the patience game, and this is what Karula is amazing at. She is such a practiced hunter. Oh, she's been doing it for the last 12, not quite 12 years of her life, last 10 years of her life on her own. And she knows that she's got to get something relatively soon to feed those two cubs, and she's always been amazing at providing for her offspring and herself. Now, what she's got to do is she's got to gauge so many things. It's almost like a tactical military operation, a leopard hunt. She knows she only has one shot at it and only a short burst of speed. And what she's got to do is she's got to weigh up all these different conditions. The blowing of the wind, is it swirling? Is it going to give her away? She's just on that termite mound there on the right. You'll see her as you come along the road. Playing spot the leopard. There we go, they've got her. So she's weighing up. All the different conditions. Yours can see. Yours, can you see the mala from here? Cool. Awesome. So, here's what she's got to do. She's got to make sure that she doesn't move too fast, because she'll give her position away. She can't move downwind of them, or upwind of them, sorry, because she'll give her position away. And so, this lying down, even though she looks perfectly relaxed, is actually typical leopard hunting behavior. A leopard hunt from start to finish, depending on where you take the sort of starting moment, can go on for an hour at a time, easily. Maybe even longer, as the leopard just patiently waits, watching what the animal does. Go ahead. So yours is just going to, shame, he's so sweet. He's just asking permission, and so your view's going to be blocked for a moment. Whee! Flash of heads. Here we go. So I'm sort of making a tactical decision here. Generally, impala walk into the wind so that they can smell what is coming, what is in front of them. The wind is blowing from behind me, which makes me think there's a possibility the impala are going to feed coming in this direction. So moving in this direction. That would put us in the perfect position to watch as the situation plays out. And for now, we play a game of wait. She's got a perfect view. The impala, just to give you an idea, if we go a little bit to the right, here we go. So they're just to the right. If we zoom in sort of here, Eggsy, they're just on the other side there, in that gap. Now you might not be able to see them, but that's where they are. Just to give you a rough idea. Just around there. So we're going to wait patiently to see what Karula does. She knows it's... not at all yours. So while we wait patiently for Karula to shift around, we're going to send you back to Taylor, who's doing a marvelous job of finding elephants this morning.
And I have stumbled across some more elephants. Everybody, can you believe it? It's an elephant day for me. And we're seeing such an amazing variety of elephant behavior. You can see this one is picking up some sand and actually covering itself with that. How incredible is that? So this is known as dust bathing. And it's very important to try and get rid of all the parasites. So things like mites and ticks and all those goodies will suffocate in the dust and then hopefully drop off. What's wrong? There's also quite a bit of vulture activity around here. I don't know if it's just because they're catching thermals or if because we are hot on the heels of the lions, which we're hoping, but we will see. But while we're going to watch this young Ellie bull, what are you doing? What are you thinking about? Something biting you? Not very happy, swinging his trunk around. What's wrong? It's okay, relax. He was so happy with us, and now I don't know what happened. Oh, he's got no tail. That's unfortunate. Oh, I think something is biting him. I think that's what the problem is. I think because he hasn't got a tail anymore, he's lacking a fly swatter and maybe something stung him. Because all of a sudden he was fine and then he was unhappy and you saw him hit the brakes now as well. Oh, I think he's going to go to the toilet too. Emergency. Cover yourself nicely in dust for us. Isn't that beautiful? No, you're not going to the toilet? Oh, What's wrong? Really seems slightly agitated. Not with us, though. Fran wants to know if elephants can sneeze or do sneeze. I mean, with all this dust that they're throwing around. Yes, they do. You'll often hear them sort of blow quite a big bit of air out of their nose, and I think that's the equivalent of sort of sneezing, trying to get rid of all of that dust. Oh my goodness. What's going on here? Can you quickly go onto these vultures that we've got? I don't know if you're going to be able to see them, but there is a lot of vulture activity. Look at this. What's going on? I wonder if these lions maybe aren't in here, because they don't seem to be going up. Oh, they go up and then they come down again. I wonder if they've seen something. Hopefully they'll lead us straight towards where these lions are going. See, now they are going elsewhere. And there were more vultures as well that were flying just to the left of these ones. There's quite a few of them, and this is where all the lion tracks are going to. So that's quite interesting. Well, that's good. I'm going to keep an eye out on these vultures. We'll carry on watching our friend the elephant, who is currently having a lovely dust bath and is settled down again now. So I think that's what happened while you were watching. Oh, wow! Isn't that amazing? It's like a colour festival for elephants, though, and just with the dust. If any of you have ever been to a colour festival, you should know what it's like with those packets of dried sort of paint. And that's just what, this is exactly what that reminds me of. But that's very unfortunate. I think this young Elie bull does spend quite a bit of his day covering himself in dust without that tail. That must be the most frustrating thing for an animal, is to lose your tail, which is the only fly swatter that you have. Look there, you see, it gets a bit fidgety and itchy, and you can see that tail wagging, wagging, wagging. So I think he does maybe have a few insects that are biting him around the rump and he cannot reach them. That's very unfortunate. And off he goes again. Where are you going to go? You're going to carry on with the road? You're going to go find something to eat? Look at that little tail. And these long eyelashes as well earlier. There we go. Look at him. Stumpy. He's like Stompy, the monkey that I was talking about yesterday afternoon as well. Shame, boy. You're not happy with all the insects that are biting you. Okay, you can see him, very agitated. Like I said, not with us, just with all the biting insects. And that's a good idea, yes. Walk through the trees, and that will hopefully act as a bit of a fly swatter as well. No, not very happy. Okay, everybody, I think we're going to go and head over to Jamie, so you can have one last look at Karula. I'm going to hang around with these elephants for a little bit longer.
Hello and welcome to all of the kids at Rodine School. And I'm whispering just because I don't want to take our eyes off this incredible creature in front of us. There is a leopard hunting around this incredible drainage line. I think some of you may know of her. Her name is Karula, and she is very, very hungry. And just down in the drainage line there is an antelope that she is keen on catching for breakfast. Absolutely incredible. I had to bring you across now because I'm scared she's going to disappear. And then after that, then I will introduce myself and explain a little bit about what's happening here. So just bear with me one moment because she could disappear in 2 seconds. Look at her go. She's gonna go. Isn't that incredible? And there she goes. Okay, I've got to whisper because I don't want to disturb her in any way. But a big hello to all of you at Rodine. My name is Jamie, and I have a gentleman called Eggsy on camera with me, and the sun is really, really, really very, very bright. Eggsy's real name is not Eggsy, it's Sander, and it's wonderful to have you all on board. I think this is a fantastic way for you to start off your school day. And just a quick note, I used to go to Rodine just like you guys, but many, many years ago. So what this is, there she goes. She's still hunting. See if you can spot her It's going to be very difficult. A leopard is very well hidden. But see if you can see where she's gone. Awesome. Just keep looking. I don't know where she is. See if you can help me find her. Can you see her there? I can't. Okay. Unfortunately, I can't do anything just yet. I can't move my car. I can't reposition, and the reason for that is that if we do, we might make a bit of noise, and we could either scare Karula or we could scare the animal that she's hunting. So we've just got to sit here really, really carefully and wait for one moment to see what's happened. What an exciting way to start off your morning. She was looking really hungry, like she could really use some breakfast. I'm just going to wait here for one moment. The sun is so bright. I'm sorry, I can't look at you at all. You have to duck into the shadow. So what this is, this whole system, is that we do live game drives. So what we do is we essentially broadcast live from a place called the Sabi Sand. And it's not just leopards and lions that we have here. We also have some amazing other animals as well. I'm going to send you back across to Taylor, who has got some elephants.
Hello to all the wonderful ladies of the Rodin School. I'm so happy to have you join us this morning. My name is Taylor, and on camera we have David. You can see his thumb over there. He does actually have an entire body. He's not just arms. And I don't know if you managed to see that, but we were actually looking at the eye of an elephant. I need to reposition. Oh no, wait, maybe he's going to come back into frame again. There he is. So we've been watching this young elephant bull, and I don't know if you can see that he's got a missing tail. Ashley wants to know how old this elephant is, and I reckon he's probably about between 12 and 15 years old. So he's quite a young boy still. He's definitely nowhere near his potential size. Maybe let me see if I can reverse back a little bit quickly. And this elephant is proving to be quite a character because he's going the other way. Because he's missing his tail, the insects are really bothering him. Maybe we'll catch him up here. Yes, he's going to pop out. Don't go down into the riverbed. We are not done looking at you yet, mister. No, come back. No. Shame. He was really, really agitated earlier with these poor biting insects, and now he's disappearing. So I don't think we're going to be able to see him anymore, but there's another one. I'm just going to poke my nose over here. And I don't know, can you see that other elephant that's just around the corner over there? That looks like a female. I think it's a female. It's hard to tell from here, but that one has its head tucked into a tree and is munching away. It's quite hard to believe that such a big animal can disappear in the bushes like that. Unesa wants to know why elephants spray themselves with dust. Now, Unesa, I have to tell you that it's the most effective insect repellent out in the bush is to cover yourself with dust. So like what you maybe just quickly saw over there, poor Stumpy, our elephant that has lost his tail, was really spraying so much dust on him. So what that does is that it will suffocate all the parasites, so from the ticks to the lice and anything else that's crawling around on their skin. It will put a thin layer over them, suffocate them, and then hopefully they will die. And I think what was happening as well is our friend Stumpy, as he was spraying some dust over himself, I think he was hoping that it was going to take out a group of insects that were biting him at that time. But there's lots of activity over here. Where are these elephants going? They've just completely disappeared into this very thick vegetation in this drainage line, and making it quite difficult for us to view. I think we're going to have to maybe reposition again. Maybe we're going to get this one that's poking its head through. David, what do you think? We'll just reverse. When the animals move, we've got to keep moving with them, so they keep us on our toes. So, you lovely ladies from Rodin, I have to tell you that I went to an all-girls school too down in the Eastern Cape of South Africa, and it was the best thing I ever did. I had so much fun. I made the most amazing friends. It was awesome. So I hope you're all enjoying your time at school. Okay, we've got some movement. How are we going to see this elephant that is hiding away from us? You're not cooperating. This morning we've had a whole lot of elephants that were cooperating, but now they don't seem to. Okay, I'm going to try go back again. Let's relocate. Hello, Carolyn. Carolyn wants to know how that elephant lost its tail. It could have been from a number of different things. Maybe it had a lion hanging on the back of it at some point. I'm not sure. Or it even could have had, oh yes, okay, hang on, let me reposition Carolyn and I'll get to the other answer. I think we're going to get this elephant actually poking its head out now. Sort of. You can see that it's an elephant behind there. Or maybe it was being pushed around as a youngster. Oh, I don't know what could have happened, and maybe it just lost it like that. But it seems like it's a very, very old injury because there was no fresh wounds. It was all healed up nicely. So I think it happened when it was maybe a young calf. Maybe it was laying down. Maybe it even got stood on or something along those lines. You can see. Can't really tell you just yet if this is a male or female elephant. I haven't really seen too much of it, but there was a breeding herd in the area and they're just feeding on all the nice green vegetation that is growing along the banks of the Mulwati. You can see that one just stretching his trunk up. It's quite hard. You can actually see a little tusk poking out between. There we go, pulling it down, and what it's doing now is it is putting it in its mouth and biting it. Come on, eh? So Kathy wants to know how long do elephants live for. Kathy, elephants live for quite a long time. It's quite amazing. So they live anywhere between 60 and 70 years, and that's determined by their teeth. So I have chatted about this earlier today, but I'll quickly recap for all of you. So elephants have 6 sets of molars that come through every 10 years or so. It depends on how quickly they wear down though, and then that will then determine their age. That's why I say anywhere between 60 and 70 years old. So if any of you want to go into elephant dentistry, I think there's definitely a career available for all of you, and I reckon the elephants probably live a little bit longer if they had another set of teeth. And this one has tucked its head away so nicely and obviously enjoying the bark on the tree. That's what we've been watching today. We've been watching the elephants eat lots and lots of bark and roots. And unfortunately, that's really only the food that's available for them at the moment. It's actually gone so quiet. Those elephants have moved out and away somewhere. Not sure where they've gone. They must have gone through this drainage line and out on the other side. So possibly, let's see, are you a female or are you a male? It looks like it could be a female, but I'm still uncertain. Come on out. You can just see also the secretion from the temporal gland. Can you see that over there? Just to the right of the eye is a liquid it's dry now, looks nice and dry, that's oozing out of that little gland, and that's quite an important gland. You can actually tell a lot by an elephant. Oh, it's a female, and I think she has got a baby inside of her. I can see her mammary glands are extremely swollen, and that will also give a good indication to me as to why those temporal glands are secreting like that. You can see there. So I think she'll probably give birth quite soon. They're very, very swollen, and her stomach is quite large as well. So with that temporal gland, it's an indication of it's basically an overstimulation of adrenaline. So it can mean that they are excited, it can mean that they are angry or stressed, and I think that female is quite stressed. Obviously there's a lack of food at the moment, and she's got a baby inside of her, so it's causing quite a bit of stress to her life, and that's probably why that temporal gland is secreting like that. We've unfortunately lost all the elephants now. They've disappeared from us. So Kylie wants to know why the female elephants rank higher. Or a matriarchal system where we have a group of females that are very closely related, so they could be great-grandmothers and then granddaughters and mothers and cousins and sisters and you name it. They're all all related to each other, and they will decide where they're going to go and eat and what they're going to go and do, whereas the boys that become quite boisterous when they reach the age of about 15, that they eventually get kicked out of the herds anywhere between 15 and 18 years old, and they have to go and live a life of solitary, or they may even join up in a small bachelor group, so maybe some other young boys in a similar situation, until they are old enough to eventually mate with the female. So they just come and go. They are only present in the herds for a short period of time, and then they move out and go on their own. So the ladies always stick together. I suppose it's like what you've done now at school, all the ladies all together like that. Let's try and relocate and just see if we can find some more of these elephants. But they have disappeared into some really, really thick vegetation. Actually, you want to have a look here. Can you see on this tree? I'm just going to turn the vehicle a little bit. You see how there's a bit of mud at the base of the trunk of that dead tree over there? That's quite low to the ground, so that could be anything from a warthog to a buffalo to a hippo to a rhino and even an elephant rubbing up against the tree like that. To me, that says it's a slightly smaller animal. An elephant would normally rub up mud a bit higher, and once again, with the dust technique that they're using to suffocate insects, often what they'll do is they'll first go and have a nice mud bath to cool themselves down on a hot day, like I think it's going to be today, and then they will head on over, that will also just cool them down, and once again it also suffocates all the parasites, and then they'll often have a dust bath after that, and the dust sticks so nicely to their skin. But let's carry on a little bit further. If we find a nice bit of wood where the elephants have rubbed up, we'll have a closer look. We may even see some parasites in there. So once they've gone for their little mud bath and then a dust bath, they'll often come up and rub their shoulders or rub any itchy parts of their body up against the tree, and that can also then dislodge all those ticks that have been suffocated, all the different parasites, and then they get wedged into the bits of bark, and that's quite interesting to see. So if we can find something like that, it would be quite amazing. So I don't see any elephants just yet. I'm going to just keep an eye on, and I'm going to keep listening out for them. Good morning, Ella. Ella wants to know how long elephants are pregnant for, and it is the longest gestation period for any mammal, and that is, well, for any land mammal, and that is 22 months. So here's a question for all of you at the Rodin School. What animal, you don't have to tell me specific, species specific, but which animal has got the longest gestation period? So I'll give you a clue. It lives in the ocean. Let's see if anybody can guess that. Right, elephants, where are you? Did anybody bring any peanuts? Anybody bring any peanuts this morning to try and lure these elephants out? No, just joking. Elephants, I don't particularly like peanuts. I don't even think some of them will know what peanuts are. They don't grow in the wild in this area. So I'm not sure where that story came from. Oh my goodness, so have a look at all these vultures. I'm just going to get a nice little clearing. Look at that. That's incredible. Kayel wants to know what plants elephants feed on. Now, Kayel, elephants feed on a number of different plant species. Sorry, I just need to turn the radio down. They only have a very poor digestive system, so they're constantly feeding on a variety of different things. So from leaves to grasses in the summer months, and at this time of the year they're particularly eating the bark and the roots. They love acacia trees, any of the acacias. They will pretty much eat anything. They'll love to eat the fruit from the jackalberry trees, even the fruit from the marulas. That's their particular favorite, and I look forward to seeing the elephants do the head banging on a marula tree to get all the fruit to drop from it. But we're looking at a thermal of vultures at the moment, and can you see how it's almost like it's a tornado of vultures, and they're circling around. So there is some hot air over here that's rising quite nicely, and vultures are really, really big birds. Their wingspan can get just shy of 2 meters, so about 1.8 meters in length, and you can imagine it would be quite difficult for a bird with such a big wingspan to get so high in the sky. So they have to rely on these warm pockets of air, and you can see how that warm pocket of air is actually moving and making these vultures sort of blow down further to the south. Now some of them have got out of the thermal, now they need to pop back in, and eventually they'll get higher and higher. And there's a number of different species of vultures here. We've got some hooded vultures, we've got some white-backed vultures, which are the bigger ones, and I'm pretty sure occasionally you may even see a little eagle soaring with them. So these vultures are not hunting, or they haven't really spotted anything at the moment. This is just them trying to get really high up into the sky where they can soar and then start their day and search for something possibly to eat. Valentina wants to know how I'm able to tell the difference between the different animals and then as well as remember which species is which. Lots and lots of practice. Obviously with the big animals, from the different antelope species to, sorry, I've just come unplugged. This is like my vital system. This keeps me alive. Sorry, everybody. So from the antelope species to the zebra and the giraffe and the wildebeest and the elephants and the lions, they're quite easy to tell the difference between. The tricky part comes when you find animals like insects and frogs and birds, because you're not always seeing them all the time. And this is obviously hard when you're not seeing an animal on a regular basis. This makes it a lot more difficult to try and remember it. So that's why we have lots of books. You'll see I have lots of books with me now for just in case I need to find anything. See, I've got a mammals book over here that has got all sorts of different goodies in. I've even got a bird book. You can't laugh at my bird book though, I have to show you. It's my bird book that I've had for forever and ever. Look at all that. So these little tools are very helpful for us in the bush. And even though I've been doing this for a while, I never stop looking in my book. It's very important to keep learning, which is quite amazing. So that's how you learn about how to identify different creatures and how to remember them. And it just takes a lot of practice. So we're going to carry on going ahead. I can't see these elephants and I can't hear them anymore, so I'm not sure where they have disappeared to. They maybe have found a nice shrub that they're feeding on. We'll carry on around here. We're also, by the way, we were also trying to follow up on some lions. I think I've got some lion tracks. Do I have some lion tracks on that side of the road? Would you like, is that all right for you? Okay, let me just go back a little bit. How's that now? Have a look in here. Lion tracks, everybody. Isn't that a good sign? Now they were going up and down. Let me try and have a quick look around here. Excuse me for 2 seconds, I'm just unplugging myself. What else do I need? Nothing. Let's see who we've got over here. Ooh, okay, so let's do this one over here. You can see this actually looks like a very big male lion track. I mean, that's really the size of my hand over here. So it's quite easy to tell the difference between male and female tracks because of their size. Firstly, female's track is a lot smaller, but also a female track is generally a lot longer. A male's track is quite wide, which you can see. It's almost as wide as it is long. So a female track will be a lot longer in length and then slightly narrower. And then to tell the difference between a hyena and a lion track, because sometimes you can get confused, is that a cat has got 3 lobes. So the back part, the sort of the palm, I suppose you could call it, you can see if you look there, 1, 2, 3. So that's very easy. That's how I know it's a cat. There's also no claws, which rules out that it's a cheetah. Cheetah is the only track where you can actually see their claws in their track. The rest of the cats keep their claws retracted in their pads so they can stay nice and sharp. They don't need to rely on running too quickly. I suppose I need to maybe also look around, make sure that there's no lions creeping up on me. And so yes, so the lions and the leopards keep their tracks, their claws retracted so that they can keep them nice and sharp. They don't use their claws like cheetahs. Cheetahs use their claws in order to grip on the ground to help them run really quickly. So the tracks are going up and down. So there's one big male lion's tracks like I just showed you, and there's a few female lion's tracks. So I wonder where we've missed them. I think we may actually turn around and just do another loop now that I can see these tracks nice and clearly. There's no cub tracks here. This pride of lions that we are looking for has got quite a few cubs. I'm just going to zoom around quickly. Need to get back in the vehicle. My brain is thinking very hard as to what these lions were up to. I think they're in this drainage line somewhere. I have a sneaky suspicion. Let me just very quickly see if there's any update on the lines. Woo! Need to get plugged in. Okay, I'm plugged in again. No, and I'm not going. Come on. Okay, I'm going to very quickly just reverse without stalling this time. Watch the trees so we don't take us out. So, I think there were a lot of buffalo tracks around here this morning as well. I've been seeing that, and lots of zebra tracks. So perhaps these lions were up and down here. They weren't too far from here last night. We actually found them just behind us, a few hundred meters. So, and they were looking hungry. The last time they killed something was a few evenings ago, which was a big buffalo. Mia wants to know how many animals we have in this camp. Mia, it is impossible to even tell you. I don't know off the top of my head. There's so many different types of mammal species as well as bird species, and all the insects and the amphibians and the reptiles. It's almost impossible to say. Sorry, I'm slightly distracted just because these lion tracks are going up and down. Up and down, and I don't know. We've come from this way and we didn't see anything, but now they seem to have all turned around. We're going to go back again. This is what often happens. You spend your entire drive going up and down trying to work out what these animals have been doing. And it seems to me that they were obviously trying to track something, trying to look at something. But I think because no one has driven this road this morning and we've just come from that side and we spent some time with the elephants and we didn't hear anything else, maybe they're around here. Let's just have a look. I just want to quickly see what's happening on the radio. Sorry, Mabel, is there any Ngonyam updates? Yeah, I've got their tracks nicely going up this road. So Simone wants to know if I'm scared. Sorry, we've got an elephant's just sort of blocked the road slightly. You can see this branch. We're going to have to maneuver through it. Come on, Rusty. Timon wants to know if I'm scared if a lion or an elephant would attack me. And you know what? They won't. We've been interacting with these animals, with these particular vehicles for over 30 years. So they are well used to us now. They're not particularly bothered by us anymore. Oh, I found another elephant, everybody. Fantastic. Something. It's okay, hello. So you'll hear me. I like to talk to the animals and I love to talk to elephants. So we've got, it looks like we've got some, I think we've got some bulls here. Hello, hello. Look at your tusks. I'm going to go forward a little bit. Lusanda, I'm so close to this elephant right now. I'm probably about 15, maybe 12 meters away from this elephant bull that we're looking at over here. And so, no, yes, they will come very close to the car. Sometimes they'll walk right over to us. Maybe he'll do that. And so, Timon, just to go back to your question very quickly there. So it's taken many, many, many years for us to be able to interact with these animals and for them to be so relaxed with us. So isn't that incredible that they're completely wild? Now, if I were to get out the vehicle, that is a different story. But we do not look like a threat in the vehicle because remember, unfortunately, a lot of these animals have been hunted for many, many years when the settlers first arrived. So they have a natural fear of humans. But in the vehicles, for the last 30 years, we haven't been behaving like people. We've been very well behaved in the vehicles and just actually looking at the animals. And the only shooting we're doing is with a camera, which is the way I think it should be. So it's fantastic. So now they allow us to be relaxed, enjoy, and they were like nothing. We're like a rock to them, completely neutral. There's another big female just up ahead. Oh no, she's disappearing. Ryan and Annabelle want to know, how do you tell if it's a male or a female? I'm going to go ahead because we've got a few more elephants I think we're going to get a better view of. Come on guys, it's okay, relax. What's wrong? Why is everybody so agitated? Have you seen some lions this morning? It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Sorry, this elephant cow is not happy with us. I'm going to keep going. Sorry, everybody. See how she's just told me? She had her ears raised. She also looked at me and she said, you better just keep on moving. So I'm going to keep my distance from her. She was not very comfortable with us, which is fine. She's allowed to be. We all have bad days. So just to go back to that, I've forgotten now, sorry. What the question was, I was just very quickly watching the elephant. So the differences between males and females, it's difficult now because we don't have an elephant that actually wants to look at us, but a female elephant has got a very square forehead, which is quite easy to tell the difference when you can see their heads, which at the moment is proving quite difficult. Normally they're quite relaxed. And you can also look for, I'm going forward again, you can also look for the mammary glands, which is another way. So the mammary glands tend to be quite swollen. And then the males have a very, very round head. Where are these elephants gone now? Let me go back again. Sorry, everyone, they're not cooperating with us today. The male elephants have quite a round head on them. And then you can also look for all the manly bits on an elephant. Well, I think we're going to head on back to Janie, just because I cannot get a clear view of these elephants, so I'm going to try and keep looking around. Maybe I'm going to even see why these elephants are so agitated, but I'll see you shortly. Right, what are we doing?
I am so sorry I disappeared like that. Unfortunately, I had a completely flat tire, which meant that the leopard disappeared away while we had to get out and change it. And it's actually a very, very important skill, learning to change a tire. It's something that everybody should know how to do, and it's something that you have to do a lot if you are a guide. You get very, very used to it. But it's important to know how to do properly, because if you don't, you can really seriously hurt yourself. You essentially have to lift the whole of the vehicle up onto one jack. And what that means is you've got to make sure that everything is perfectly secure so that you don't risk the vehicle falling over. Now, we are desperately trying to find the leopard for you, but I've found something else for now, and in fact something that will tell us if the leopard's been past. Now, Pando, you wanted to know, do we ever get scared of the wild animals? Yes, sometimes. See, there's a monkey. Oh, there it goes, he's running away. There was a monkey sitting there, and he's decided to dash off. Now, the reason I say that the monkeys would tell us where the leopard was is because they go ow, 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 when they see a leopard, basically telling everybody, look out, there's a big cat. Do you ever get scared? Sometimes. Well, sometimes it's very, very important to remember that you're in the animal's space and it's their home, and you've got to respect that and be very, very respectful of it. And it's important to remember these are wild animals and they are capable of hurting us or injuring us. But it's also very important to remember they don't want to. It's not their natural instinct to injure us in any way. Aha, there's that giraffe. I think that's the one that Taylor was looking at. There's a giraffe over there. So all animals, even the smallest warthog or bushbuck, are capable of hurting us if we behave in a silly way. And it's very important to be constantly alert and aware that you may need to move out of an animal's space. And also, just because you saw an animal one day and it was perfectly happy, if you see it the next day and it's not happy, it's important to respect that, because they have moods just like we do. Sometimes things go wrong, sometimes they get injured, and then it's very, very important to read the signs of the animals. So I'm not going to tell you that I've never been scared out here, because I have. And anybody who says anything different is not telling the truth. We've all been a little bit scared at times. But I'm more scared sometimes in certain cities and in certain places in cities than I am living out here in the bush, because there's nothing out here that sets out to hurt us in any way. How amazing is that giraffe? Now, I know you've just been with the giraffe with Taylor, I think, before the elephants. So what I want to do, or maybe you haven't actually, I've lost track of all the things we've seen this morning. I've been so busy trying to find this leopard. Okay, so let's go a bit closer to the giraffe, because you guys haven't seen one yet. And I'm hoping he's going to let us come a little bit closer. Now, Joya, welcome. I hope you're having an awesome morning. You want to know if we breed animals at our farm. And the answer is no, we don't. We don't do any sort of breeding of any sort of animal out here. There are certain places, of course, in South Africa that breed different animals, certain types of antelope, for example, or buffalo. But we don't do any breeding. The animals do it all themselves. We don't interfere in any way. So we let them get on with their lives just like they've been doing for hundreds and hundreds of years. So they do all of their own breeding. We've got lion cubs somewhere on this property. I'm hoping we're going to find them at some point. And Karula, the leopard you saw earlier, also has 2 beautiful babies that are 7.5 months old. But she's busy hunting for them. So that's why she's disappeared. But for now, we've got this amazing giraffe. He's munching away on the leaves. Now, talking about spotted creatures, we've got quite a few giraffe, but Alice Marie would like to know whether or not we have any wild dogs. And yes, we do, and we get to see them every now and again. Right now, most of the wild dog packs in the Kruger and all around the Lowveld have brand new puppies, which means they're spending a lot of time around the den site. So they have babies in a termite mound or something similar, and what they do is they move around there and look after the puppies. And unfortunately, they haven't decided to den in this particular area, which means that we only see them every now and again. But when we do see them, it's one of the most exciting animals to watch. They move so fast, and they cover such enormous distances incredibly quickly. They are absolutely amazing. Now, this giraffe is probably a little bit too big for them to take down, but they are capable of taking down or catching things like antelope. As you know, a wild dog is one of the most endangered animals that we have out here. How many do you think, I'm going to ask you a quiz now, how many wild dog do you think there are in South Africa? How many wild dog do you think there are, roughly? You don't have to give me an exact number, but how many do you think there are? And I think you'd be shocked and surprised at the number. Look at this beautiful giraffe. Yeah, absolutely, Faith. You want to talk about the giraffe tongue. And you want to know why it's so long. And Faith has asked a very good question, because a giraffe has a tongue that's almost 1/2 meter long. Measure that out. Pick up your school ruler, your 30 centimeters ruler. A giraffe tongue is even longer than that. And the reason a giraffe's tongue is so long is because of what they eat. And they particularly like the leaves of thorn trees, things like acacias, and perhaps a knobthorn or 2. But that means they have to stick their whole face into the tree to get to the leaves, and sometimes it gets a bit scratchy. So what they can do is they close their eyes and their nostrils, and they put their head as close to the tree as possible, like this giraffe is doing. He's got his head in the tree. And then they reach forward with their long tongue, and it's flexible, almost like an elephant's trunk, and it wraps around the leaves. Now here's something I don't know if you know. A giraffe's tongue is purple. Not even just bright purple, deep purple. And that's because if it's wrapping around thorn tree leaves, it's got to be nice and tough. So it's got melanin in it. And melanin is the same thing that gives you freckles or slightly darker skin. And that is a very tough pigment. It's a very strong pigment. So they've got melanin in their tongue so that they don't cut their tongue when they're busy eating their leaves. Now, this is a boy giraffe. And the reason that I know it is a boy giraffe, there you go, that's for Amy and Victoria. You wanted to know, how do I know it's a boy giraffe? How do you distinguish? Now, the most important thing is to look at the top of a giraffe's head. Now, you might not always be able to see it clearly, but because a giraffe's so tall, it often sticks up above the trees. Right, now, look at his horns. Now, they're not actually called horns, they're called ossicones, the things sticking out of the top of his head. And they're different from antelope, like impala, because a giraffe is born with them, but they are solid bone. In a boy giraffe, those are nice and thick and strong, and they're bald at the top. They've been rubbed bald, so the skin at the top, look closely, look really carefully. There, he's giving us a view. See, there's no hair on the top. So in a boy giraffe, those are thick and strong because they use them to fight other males with when they want to mate with a female. So it's to compete with other males. In girl giraffes, those are much skinnier and they have tufts of hair growing out of the top of them. So that's one way that you can distinguish a male from a female. Male giraffe are bigger and usually a little bit darker, but be careful because just like some of you have brown hair, black hair, blonde hair, giraffe have different colors of coats as well. And then, next way, boys and girls, in a giraffe it's quite easy to see. You can see the bump on his tummy, and that is one way that you can distinguish that it is a male. So that's a boy. The female doesn't have that bump, it's smooth. And you also want to know, what do we call a baby giraffe? And Carolyn, you want to know what you call a baby giraffe. We call it a calf. It is called a giraffe calf, like a cow. And in fact, you call a female giraffe a cow, and a male giraffe is actually a bull. It's kind of weird. But a baby giraffe is called a calf, like a buffalo calf. And that's because they are actually quite closely related to buffalo, believe it or not. Now, a giraffe is an amazing creature. And it's got a very, very powerful heart that pumps blood all the way up to the top of their head. Now, this boy is all on his own, and that's generally what giraffe do. And we have a question about, will the male stay with the mom and the baby? No, they don't. Male giraffe are not very good fathers. They actually don't stay and look after the baby. That's the mother's job. And there's actually very few animals out here where the male looks after the baby as well as the female. Mostly it's birds that both partners will look after the little one. Birds, jackals, wild dogs, those sorts of animals. Giraffe, nope, the male mates with the female and then he goes away. But giraffe don't have set herds or territories, so that means you could see a male with a female and a calf. They just wander around. Sometimes they like to be on their own, sometimes they like to be with other giraffe. And a collection of giraffe is called a journey. So the collective noun for giraffe is called a journey of giraffe, which is, I think, a lovely description. They always look as though they're on a journey. Look at him. Isn't he amazing? And Kel, you want to know how old the giraffe is that we're looking at right now. It's very, very difficult for me to tell because he is fully grown, and giraffe, whilst they do get larger and larger throughout their lives, at some point they sort of reach a stopping point. And unless I went and had a look at his teeth to see how much they've worn down, I couldn't really tell you. He could be anywhere from about 8 or 9 years old right up until about 15, even potentially 20 years old. If I had to guess, I don't know why I'm saying, I think he's probably in his teens, his early teens. So between 11 and 15 is my guess, but I don't know exactly, and it's very difficult to tell the exact ages of animals like this. I could ask him if I could look at his teeth, but I don't think he's going to say yes. And the reason that old giraffe, their teeth wear down, is because, of course, they're constantly chewing. So all of our antelope, our elephants, and giraffe, you can tell how old they are by looking at the condition of their teeth. And that's one of the only ways that you can tell. And then as they start to get older, then their bones start to get more prominent, and they get a bit more bald. Amor, you wanted to know how tall a giraffe can grow. And I'm trying to think what the record is. This giraffe must be, I would say, easily 6 meters from the ground to the top of his head. 5-ish meters, 5.5 meters, I would guess at how tall he is. So giraffe can get very, very tall. And don't forget, there's different types of giraffe. So throughout Africa, there's different species. We have the savanna giraffe, the southern African giraffe, and they do get very tall. Now, one of the advantages of being that tall, of course, is that you can eat above the heads of other animals. But then, At the same time, for the males, it's also a weapon. So those horns on the top of their heads, when they fight with other males, they do what's known as necking. So they swing their heads down and around and hit each other on the sides and on the legs and on the back. And they're basically smacking each other with their heads, which sounds ridiculous, and it is phenomenal to watch because their necks are so incredibly strong. They can swing their heads with great strength. Now, generally, only mature giraffe go dark like this in color. All right, now our giraffe is not going anywhere, but Amy and Julia, you wanted to know how fast can a giraffe run? Well, probably in the region of about 60-odd kilometers, possibly even faster at a sprint. They look like they're slow animals, but they're actually not, because when your legs are 2 meters long, you have enormous strides, so the distance between each step is very, very far. And giraffe can only do 2 different types of movement. They can walk or they can run. And their run looks very graceful, and it's almost like they're running in slow motion. But because their legs are so long, they can run and cover ground particularly fast. Faster than a human being. In fact, pretty much, I have to be honest, pretty much everything out here in terms of mammals can run faster than a human being. They've got 4 legs, we've got 2. They are just better at running. Which is why we always say, you don't run away from anything out here. Now, Rose, you wanted to know how giraffe sleep. So what they do is they can actually doze standing up, so kind of have a little bit of a nap, and they don't sleep long periods like we do, because they can't afford to be inattentive, not watching out for predators for too long. But giraffe do sometimes lie down. They fold their legs underneath themselves, and then they sort of lie with their bellies on the ground. But they never ever put their heads down. Their heads never go right the way down. They never rest on the floor. And that's because if they do that, if their head is below the normal position for too long, because they've got a very complex system of the powerful heart pushing the blood up into the neck and then lots of different valves to control the flow of the blood. If they put their heads down for too long, then they faint. All of the blood goes away from their head and they just can't maintain it and they faint. Which is why you only see a giraffe drinking for a little while at a time. Look, he's got a passenger. Look carefully. Behind the ossicone, you'll see a little bird. That is an oxpecker. And the oxpecker is picking up ticks from behind its ears, around its ears and its face and behind the horns. So it's basically helping the giraffe. Gets rid of the itchy ticks that the giraffe can't reach, and at the same time it gets a meal. We see lots of oxpeckers all over many different creatures out here. Serena, you wanted to know how many teeth a giraffe has. And it's very important out here to say I don't know when you don't know, and not make anything up. I don't remember off the top of my head exactly how many teeth a giraffe has. You're probably looking at about 4 molars, 4 or 5 actually, 4 or 5 molars, top and bottom, on each side. So what's that? Let's say 4 molars on the top, 4 molars on the top, 8 molars on the top, 16 plus a couple of incisors. There you can see his incisors at the front. And he's probably got, let's count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Looks like he's got 6 there. 6, 12. So 16 molars, 12 incisors, and you're looking at about 28 or so teeth. But I'm guessing, I don't know exactly how many teeth a giraffe has. We'll have to go and look at our giraffe skull that we've got back at camp. Now, that's you wanted to know, how do giraffes smile? I don't know. I haven't seen a giraffe smile at me. I've seen a giraffe look at me very carefully, but I haven't been smiled at before. Maybe I'm just not funny enough. My jokes just aren't good enough to make the giraffe smile. But remember that animals communicate in different ways to human beings. So they can show happiness and affection in different ways. They can't talk, but they do communicate just the way we do. Our facial expressions, when you cross, you frown, when you're happy, you smile. And giraffe have a whole different system of body language to communicate with each other. So the position of the ears, the lips, the tail, that will tell another giraffe who speaks that language just what that giraffe is feeling. Okay, mister, I'm going to go looking for our sneaky leopard, see where she's gone. Meantime, let's find out what Taylor's up to.
What Taylor's up to. 3, 2, 1, you're live, you're live.
Welcome back, everybody. I don't know if you can make out what we are looking at, but this is actually a male waterbuck. There we go. Now that he moved, you can see him a little bit better. Isn't it incredible that when they stand still like that, how you cannot see them at all? And he's hiding from us. He's a little bit scared of us. He's got a friend as well, but he's hiding in just as thick stuff. He's sort of to the left of him. He's using the termite mound and the cover of trees, which is quite amazing. These are really, really pretty animals. They remind me of big teddy bears because of their big noses. So hopefully one is going to show us his nose, and then we'll be able to see. No, not that one. That one is just hiding away properly. Look at those. You can only just see his ears twitching. I can't really see too much of him. There we go. Come on out into the open. Thank you. There we go, everybody. Patience. That's what you're going to have when you're in the bush. So like I said, the big male waterbuck, he looks like quite a nice one, though his horns still got quite a bit of growing to do, I reckon. He's going to go over to his friend. Let me see if he's going to stop. What's he going to do? If he carries on walking past the termite mound, I think we might get a good view of him. So let's keep our fingers crossed that he does this. So now what's quite interesting about waterbuck is their name. Does anybody know why they are called waterbuck? So ask your teacher to send through a comment for us so I can hear if you have the right answer. I'm going to go, no, we've got a nice view and we'll stay here for a little bit, carry on walking, and hopefully if any of you get the correct answer, that'll be exciting, and if not, I will tell you about it. Okay, so remember earlier I was asking about who has the longest gestation period of all the mammals, and Claire and Rainier, you got it correct. You said a whale. That is indeed correct, so well done on that. A whale's gestation period is 22 months. 24 months, sorry, 22 months is the elephant's gestation period. I'm trying to focus on this waterbuck and my brain is not cooperating with me today. So any ideas about a waterbuck? Or should I just tell you? Maybe I'll just tell you because it's quite a difficult one. So the first thing, and let's see, maybe some of you got it right. The first thing is that they are water dependent animals. So that means that they have to drink water every single day. So they really, really rely on drinking lots and lots of water. So they will never go far from a permanent water, whether it's a pump pan or a river, anything along those lines. And the other thing is that one of the ways that they are able to evade predators is that they've got these glands on their stomachs called sebaceous glands, which are oil secreting glands, and it secretes a very stinky oil. It reminds me of drain water. It's the only way I can describe it. That actually covers all the hair on their body, and then what that does is it waterproofs a coat. So waterbuck are actually very good swimmers. What they'll do, especially in areas like if you're in Zambia or Botswana where there is a lot of water around, they'll actually, say if they're being chased by lions, they'll race along and they will dive through a little channel of water or a river, and from there they'll be able to swim and get out on the other side and carry on running, and they'll be completely dry. Whereas a lion, well, the lions don't really like water, but in places like Zambia and Botswana where there is water around, they are well used to it. And they may even crash into the water swimming after them. But when they come out, they're quite heavy. Their coat is drenched in water, and they'll have to give a few good shakes. You can see the camera moving quite vigorously. Dave is doing it with me now. and then and hopefully the waterbuck would have run away by then. And also, the long hairs on their neck are hollow, and it actually helps act as a flotation device. So I think that the waterbuck can swim longer than any other antelope. Maybe the lechwe will be a close second. They're also very well adapted to the water. But we're going to carry on. I'm just doing a quick little check around here. we had lots of lion tracks. We had the tracks of even of the cubs, and they have disappeared now. And I didn't see the tracks of the cubs coming out of here. So maybe mom or the mothers were moving them around last night, and they found an area where there was some food and maybe dropped them off to go and hunt. We're going to do one little loop. We're maybe actually even going to go and very quickly just check. There was the old buffalo that they killed. Maybe they've gone back there, because I lost the male lion's footprints. They disappeared. Just always checking over my shoulder just to make sure and just to see if I can find anything. How about your side, David? Any tracks that side? I can't lean over, but I don't think so. I didn't see anything. Nothing, and it's a very nice soft sandy road, so it will leave nice footprints for us to try and follow. Right, everybody, I'm not having very much luck with these lions this morning. Hopefully we'll get lucky this afternoon, so tune in again this afternoon to watch us. I'm going to say a wonderful goodbye to you all, and I all hope you have a fantastic day. I know David wants to wave his hand as well. There you go, the bodiless human, just the arms. So ladies at Rodine, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I hope this is a good start to your school day, and hopefully we will see you soon. Cheerio from us.
Alrighty, well, at some point you guys are all going to have to go back to class, and I'm going to have to keep looking for amazing animals. We've all got our burdens to bear. Right, so there are in Africa, and in South Africa, and you've all been very optimistic. Faith, I wish there were 7,000 wild dogs in South Africa, and we had another guess of 1,000. If you were guessing for the whole of Africa, you're not that far off. There's probably around 4,000 left in the whole of Africa, and therefore the whole wide world. In South Africa, there are under 500 wild dog. That's how many wild dogs we have, and that's why it's so incredibly important to protect these amazing animals. So under 500 wild dogs in the whole country. There are roughly, the biggest population is here where we are, where there's roughly 195, hopefully more now, with all the puppies that are being born. A wild dog's an animal that has been seriously persecuted by human beings, shot by farmers, trapped by farmers, and also they catch the diseases that domestic dogs have, which means, and they don't have any kind of resistance to it, which means if they encounter a stray dog, for example, then they will contract things like rabies and distemper. Well, now, unfortunately, it's time for me to say goodbye to all of the Rodine girls. So a big goodbye. I hope you have a wonderful day at school, and that we'll get to see you in the not too distant future. Bye-bye, everybody. And for our regular viewers, thank you for sticking with us. As you can tell, I don't have Karula anymore. She ducked into a drainage line, and there's nothing like a flat tire to foil a leopard following attempt. So I was foiled quite thoroughly by Wendy's incredibly flat tire. It wasn't a slow puncture either. It went pff, gone flat. I could barely move, drive off the road to change it. Luckily, yours happened to drive by, and we had the equivalent of a Formula One pit team going and changing that tire. It was most impressive. We had Eggsy on Jack, and we had several strong young men who absolutely refused to let me do it. And then when it came to putting the jack down, I put it down, and they went, "Oh, it looks like you know what you're doing." Yeah, do it quite a few times, but I'm very grateful for their help, because it did mean that we could do it in basically record-breaking time. Unfortunately, not record-breaking enough. Karula has ducked away. I don't think she's left that drainage line that she went into. She just missed a Dacre. I mean, it was by a tail hair that thing managed to dodge around her and disappear into the drainage line. And I think she's still determined. Well, I've left her for now. I'm going to leave her to go about her morning hunting. Hopefully she's successful and we get a chance to see her on the sunset safari, even with her little baby cubs. And I'm dying to see. It feels like it's been a little while. So there we go. That will be the plan, I think, for Karula. For now, we'll carry on and look for other things. The only way I'm going to find Karula is if we go on a very extended walk through that drainage area. And I don't know, none of us know at the moment where that injured buffalo has gone, which is going to be interesting. Oh, we have a tree in the road. Now, usually I would just drive over it, but I'm a bit concerned because we now no longer have a spare tire. It's a bush willow, so it shouldn't be too bad, but you never know. So let's squeeze. We'll squeeze. We can do this. Whoa, that was a tight call. You okay there, Eggsy? Yeah. Good. Casting my mind back, I promised that we would discuss all the different bird species nesting in the trees and the fact that we get different species and there seems to be some kind of truce between them, and then I completely got distracted by Karula. So back to that question, different species of birds roosting in the same tree. I think it's just that they've reached a truce. I don't think you'd see it, you most definitely wouldn't see it, where there's a harrier hawk nest, because of course they are notorious nest raiders. But I think there's a kind of an understanding if there's a suitable tree, and I think one of the examples that we were given was the buffalo weaver's nest. We've got one here. Oh, stay on my hat. Stay on my head hat. There we go. Now we've got the buffalo weavers in that messy nest over there. Whoopsie. Car's going for a walk. And it's quite, apparently, you saw a nest, a combination of different nesting species. It is quite unusual. I haven't seen it that frequently. That is the nest of the red-billed buffalo weaver. It looks chaotic, but apparently there's quite a system behind their nesting strategy. Lots of false entrances, very difficult for something to get in there. So I suppose buffalo weavers in particular wouldn't mind too much, and also it's not so easy for a buffalo weaver to just up and move nests. They invest a lot of time and energy in those nest areas, and they return year after year after year after year to the same nest sites. So perhaps when a raptor moves in, they just decide to make a stand and not move off anywhere. And a raptor would have a hard time raiding a buffalo weaver's nest. Not really worth their while. I think that might just be the reason behind the truce of the different species. Our Fuzzman sparkles on the subject of bird's nest. You wanted to know, where do storks nest? And it's quite similar to birds of prey. It depends on the species of stork, of course, but they will choose different nest sites, construct a messy nest quite similar to something like our Wahlberg's eagles, for example. Very common to find them on top of Hammerkorp's nests, those massive, the Hammerkorp nest is the biggest nest built by any individual bird, and it's absolutely massive. It's this bundle and solid, it looks like, I don't know how to describe it. It's a really big home for a very tiny bird, and it's not uncommon to find storks nesting there. In terms of whether we have any stork nests on, I have not found any. I don't think anybody else has either, and I've never found any on Arathusa. And at this point, because of the fact that we spend so much time on quite a concentrated area, we know, especially Steph, the amount that he's walked this property, we know pretty much every single tree and every large bird species nests. So I don't think so, but you never know. And of course, we always had, when there was rain and there was water, we always had the saddle-billed storks at the Djuma Dam and at Buffelshoek Dam. We're not going to see any storks this year unless the dams fill up, which is quite a sad thought. There's no reason for them to come through here. But the rain will come. I'm determined the rain will come. So the storks, you'd be forgiven for thinking they might nest on the ground, given that they are wading birds and they spend so much time on the ground itself, but it's absolutely not the case. They adopt a very similar approach to the raptor species. One of the birds that I'm dying to see, just on the subject of birds and chicks and that does nest on the ground, and is sort of similar, kind of, to a stork, is a shoebill. I've never ever seen a shoebill. I'll find a picture quickly, if I can remember where I've put my bird book. Shoebill, shoebill. Oh my goodness, where did this drive go? I didn't realize we were so close to the end. How do you spell shoe? Shoe. Shelduck, shikra, shoebill. There we go. Quickly. That is a shoebill. A massive bird with a massive bill. Standing taller than 1 meter in height, so well over 3 feet, close to 4 feet in height. I would love to see one of them. Awesome. Okay. Well, that was just one last bird that's on my bird list. We won't see them here. But it is time for me to say goodbye. I had no idea we were so close to the end. So on that note, a big thank you to Zander for his amazing tree dodging skills and ducking. And a big thank you to all of you. I'll catch you this afternoon for the sunset safari. Bye-bye, everybody. Oh dear. In that case, I won't say goodbye to you all. It's hard to miss me if I don't leave. Taylor has lost signal, so you'll probably be staying with us until the end of the drive. No problems there. I'm going to pretend that my right front tire is not looking a little bit pup as well. Pup in South Africa, sort of slang for, well, you get the idea, lacking in air. I'm just going to pretend it isn't happening and slowly make for home. Oh, not 2 flats in one drive. That's not fair. So Taylor has lost signal. We're going to reconvene at breakfast and find out how that lion search is going. And James Richard, you were wondering if the Warburgs, on the subject of birds and nesting, if they were to abandon their nests, would any other bird make use of it? Yes, raptors actually quite regularly swap around, particularly when vultures abandon their nests and another bird of prey will come in and utilize it. So that does happen, that birds basically, obviously they return as often as possible, but when one of them dies or they move on, then yes, something else will come through. And the nest in the Balanites tree, which is actually quite unusual, but the nest in the Balanites tree that is the harrier hawk nest apparently used to be a vulture's nest. Interesting spot for a vulture's nest, that's quite unusual, but it's obviously been taken over by that harrier hawk now. A little bit of swapping around does occur. It's kind of like the hyena dens and warthogs moving in, or aardvark burrows and warthogs making use of them, or wild dogs, or whatever it happens to be. Waste not, want not, essentially. Right, well, we can safely say Karula has not popped out here. We'll have to try again on the sunset safari. We tried valiantly, we really tried valiantly, but there's nothing you can do with a flat tire. Hopefully she is successful, and hopefully she is successful on Djuma. Doesn't decide to cross south. I'm going to quite rapidly, it's a slow puncture on my front wheel, so we don't need to worry too much about it, but it does mean I need to get closer and closer to home ideally, because I don't have any tires to change. It's quite windy today, which is good for Karula. It means she's got a much increased chance of success, and I definitely hope that she does get a meal. Right, well now we really actually have reached the end of our sunrise safari, and once again I am going to say goodbyes and my thank yous and all of that. So a big thank you to Zander. I already thanked him, as well as to Rebecca and Lou in final control, always doing a marvelous job, and Jerry for all of the stuff that she does as well. Most importantly, a very big thank you to all of you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed our sighting with Queen Karula as much as I did. And I'm looking forward to having you all join me on the back of the vehicle this afternoon, where we can go out and search for her. And until then, have a wonderful day, and we will catch up with you then. Bye-bye, everybody.